and some old clothes of your mother's that you've stuffed with cushions and fruit to use as substitute women on those cold winter nights. And welcome to this, the annual After Movie Diner New Year's Eve special, where every year we get together to discuss multiple films, recap the year just gone, drink copious amounts, attempt to harpoon a chicken off the top of a pile of old dead wombats, wank off onto the polished bust of Eli Whitney, and kick a kale-eating hipster using their phone to Instagram pictures of their latest tight pants in the genitals into the path of an oncoming truck. We have assembled the usual gang of misfits and miscreants that we know you just can't live without. At the head of the table, carving the turkey, urinating in the port, and licking the curtains, it's the man who was once called the father of modern anal atrocities by a close relative, the man for whom women swoon and men cough up the bones of small woodland creatures, the man whose beard was once used by some Russian immigrants as housing and a reliable food source, and the man who in 2008 attached his highly greased nipples to a generator in the basement of Congress and kept the country running through one of the coldest editions of backgammon the United States had ever seen. Yes, it's Mosif Porn.
Hello.
And to the right of him, wearing the most grotesquely adorned Christmas sweater imaginable, surrounded by the skulls of his vanquished foe, the widget-loving, digitless midgets of Virginia, eating an entire ham through a straw, waving official U.S. documents dangerously above a fire, while screaming, "Screw you, I run the post office now, you bastards, and I'm not going anywhere, you hear?" And also the guy who once shaved an entire room of idiot jock beer pong fanatics with a rusty scythe and was awarded the Nobel Girth Prize. He brings the pain with good aim, and it's never ever lame. It's Matthew Payne.
Hey, hello.
And lastly, but by no means leastly, sat on the kids' table a sawn-off automatic pea shooter strapped to his chest, several gallons of warm otter spunk in barrels behind his chair, a personal note from Steven Seagal bequeathing him his hair once Seagal is cryogenically frozen and shot into space, rolled up in his shoe, a heavily soiled photograph of the Queen in a bathing suit under his hat, Helen Mirren's vaginal cup kept for safekeeping in his basement storage bin that is also the lacquered ribcage of a bear he once fucked, killed and ate, but not necessarily in that order, and a letter from his mummy excusing him from all sorts of games. It's Dr. Action himself, Doc Paul Croson.
Hello.
And on this year's show, we have decided to subject ourselves to the Brat Pack's most confused, bland member, the man with no discernible personality to speak of, and America's answer to Nigel Havers and latterly Hugh Grant. He starred in more films with James Spader than anyone else, and yet was never made love to in the thigh. He manhandles corpses, he fucks dolls, and he's pretty in pink. It's the one, the only, Andrew McCarthy. Gentlemen, good evening.
You know, I usually remember to turn my microphone off when you do these introductions because I'm usually sitting here laughing my ass off. And
but that one wasn't funny enough for you to do so?
No, I did. But then I turned it back on to say hi and then completely forgot to turn it back off again. Fucking chuckled through your intro.
I can delete you, Mo. It's all right. You're coming through on a separate track, so it's
great.
It's all great. So
you're just gonna do that for my entire thing here.
I'm gonna turn up the laughter so that it seems like I'm actually hosting a show someone might want to listen to. So how have we all been? It's been exactly 12 months since we all talked. So how have we all been? Are we doing well?
Dandy.
Matthew?
Good. Yeah. Doing good. Yeah, busy, but doing good.
Yeah, well, you got a promotion this year at work and a whole bunch of new stuff. You're like, what? Can you arrest us all now for diddling with postage? What is it you can do now?
Oh yeah, I could do that. As a matter of fact, it's kind of hard to do it this way. But
what if I like drew a mustache on? Who's been on postage recently? Has Elvis been on postage? Marilyn Monroe, Clint Eastwood? Who's been on postage lately?
I'm not really exactly sure. Actually, to tell you the truth.
Wow. Okay. Well, who's Elizabeth?
You're a credit to your industry, man.
Yeah. Okay, but what if Eleanor Roosevelt was on postage and I drew a funny mustache on her? Could you arrest me?
Well, not really, because I already would have beat you to it. So.
I see. Okay, fair enough.
Wait, hold on. She doesn't already have one?
She has a large handlebar mustache that she waxes liberally.
Oh, God.
With FDR's cum. So they're both dead. We can say these things. It really doesn't matter.
It's not too soon.
Okay.
It's too soon. And Doc, how about yourself, sir? How have you been? You were recently at Winter Wonderland in Hyde Park.
Yes, it was lovely, thank you.
Yeah, and but you're back in Leicester.
I am, yes. Top of the table for Christmas.
You what at the table, sorry?
Top of the table. Premier League, football, Leicester.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah, none of us understand that.
Did not understand a word of it.
But yes, Leicester beating everybody, right?
Yeah, we're doing really well. 5 points top at Christmas.
Excellent. So who do you have to fight now?
We have to fight everybody. And we'll win.
But who, like, the finals? Who do you have to play in the finals?
We've still got to play everybody, but
okay.
6 out of the 7 teams who have been top at Christmas have gone on to win the Premier League.
Wow, look at that right there. 6 out of 7 of how many years? 7 years?
The past 7 years, 6 of the teams that have been top at Christmas have won the Premier League.
Nice. I see. I don't understand football at all.
I didn't understand a word he just said.
No, exactly.
I don't either.
But I think that we would all agree that if we side with any football team, it's the one that Dr. Action supports.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So we're all honorary Leicester fans today.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's great. Guys, I have some exciting news real quick before we get
Go
into
ahead,
this.
Mo. We'll go into the news section.
I just found a full flask. That's it. That was my news.
A full flask of what?
Camel cum?
Oh, nice.
No. By the smell of it, I would assume this is whiskey.
Nice.
Very happy about that.
How did you just find that?
I don't know. I hide things from myself, and I just happened to look over, and there it was. So I shook it, and it had liquid in it, and now I'm super happy.
Nice.
I shook something. It's a body. Laying in the floor.
Yeah.
That's awesome, sir. That's awesome. I don't have any alcohol yet, but later on, me and my good lady Kim are going to be having our early Christmas. We're going up to Connecticut for Christmas with her family later this week, but we're going to be having an early Christmas, just the two of us, and later we will be having cocktails and rum and various other things. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well done.
In fact, I was sat watching The Night of the Running Man. Was that what it was called?
Yeah, you tell us you watched it.
Yeah.
What else were you doing?
No,
should be watching a film.
We had rum delivered. I didn't even know you could do that, but apparently in Brooklyn you can just have booze delivered.
That was
Awesome. Don't even have to go out of the house anymore.
No, I was just sat on the couch, and Kim just came over and handed me a bottle of very nice rum. So that was excellent.
I got to tell you, that's what I was watching yesterday. That started my I had a really, really bad all day drunken binge-a-thon. I was just having way too much fun, and I was about 10 minutes into Night of the Running Man when I started that. And I'm like, I'm gonna drink.
It's a good fun movie to drink to. Night of the Running Man.
Yeah, absolutely is. Of course, I had to watch it again today because I forgot everything about it.
Yeah. So a few of these movies are actually fun to drink to.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to watch them seriously. Most of them.
No.
I play a drinking game.
Yeah, I was going to say one of them I had to drink just to get through it, but the rest.
But we'll talk about that. So let me just bring up the list then. I'm going to go through what we kind of put together as we believe the quintessential Andrew McCarthy watching. We have Year of the Gun, Night of the Running Man, St.Elmo'S Fire, Mannequin, Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2, Class, Pretty in Pink, and Less Than Zero. That's what we considered the quintessential McCarthy movies. Would anyone else, I mean, obviously we could only watch so many, but would anyone else put any other McCarthy movies on the list, potentially?
Batman Begins.
Not in that. A movie he's actually in, Doc.
Oh, sorry, Star Wars.
Right, Star Wars.
Right.
We're going to be the only podcast in history not to talk about Star Wars tonight.
Well, we didn't talk about Indiana Jones last year.
Wait a minute, we did?
I don't even remember what we covered last year.
It was the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then before that, it was Roger Moore.
Oh, right.
And this year we thought, Andrew McCarthy.
Because that makes sense.
Because if you put Indiana Jones together with Roger Moore, you get Andrew McCarthy.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
You kind of do, right? That's kind of who you do end up with. Would you put, for example, 2010's Camp Hell on the list?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
No, honestly, there's a couple on here I wouldn't have put on the list, but I didn't make the list, so that's fine. No, I know you were also thinking about the heist. We were talking potentially about that, but none of us could find it. Big surprise.
Yeah, the heist and also Stag is another one.
Oh, right, and Stag, yeah, which
That's awesome. That's a good film.
See, that one I was way more surprised that I wasn't able to find it, but you know what? It took me a week to get through these to begin with. It's, probably better off that I didn't have 3 more on there.
Yeah, no. So I mean, it's. I think we've got the quintessential list. I can't really think that there are many others out there apart from maybe Stag and.
Well, John got the list here that people, like I said, like for movies that he's really known for. These are the main ones, mainly.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines that this is the perfect, this is his career,
Right.
in a nutshell, you start with Class, and you work your way to Night of the Running Man, and that's his career. That's just basically.
You start with Class and you end up with very little class.
Exactly.
Yes, you start with Class and end with ass. I mean, I think people would possibly add Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle and possibly the Joy Luck Club to his performances, right?
Well, I'm glad you didn't make us watch any of those.
No, me too. Only You as well. That's another one that I suppose is fairly well known.
Meh.
But should we do it chronologically this time round?
Do we
Or
have?
you could just throw them out. Or you could just throw them out there.
Can we do it chronologically backwards?
Oh, you want to do it that way? We can start with the worst and go back. Well, no, it's not the worst, but we can start with the latest and work backwards. Sure. So let me do that.
I don't care. I didn't take any notes for the last couple that I watched anyway.
That's more difficult to do, but I'm
I'm
happy
probably
to
the
go.
only person on the planet who completely looked over his IMDb page.
Well, no, I mean,
looked at it.
I looked over it to compile the list.
Yeah, and he's still working to this day. Actually, he mainly is a director now.
Well, he also does travel writing. That's his big ticket item at the moment.
Yeah.
I remember one night I was watching an episode of The Blacklist, and then it came up and said directed by Andrew McCarthy. I was like, oh wow, he's still working.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
still working with James Spader.
Yeah, Spader called him up and went, "You remember how we used to like each other? Do you fancy doing?"
Remember how we used to fuck?
Yeah. Do you remember how I used to
Fuck your thigh. Yeah.
used to stick you in the arm with my penis?
my.
But let's start with 1995's Night of the Running Man, where he plays the bigoty-bearded Jerry Logan, possibly the dumbest cab driver on the planet.
And I got to tell you, there's very, very few people in this world who I would say look better without facial hair. McCarthy really should not have facial hair ever.
I quite liked his facial hair in this.
I thought he looked ridiculous.
I thought it looked like he had stuck some glue on his lips and then made oral love to a lady's furry parts. That's what I thought.
It's like Andrew McCarthy Sasquatch.
Yeah,
Right.
but it was quite funny because it was the bit in the movie he has his feet all burnt. And then he was wincing in pain on the sofa, and that's just when I snapped the picture of the rum, and he's in the background making a face with his little goatee beard. What's incredible is that this was a novel before it was a screenplay. I mean, I can't imagine the book of this is just and then I decided to make another stupid mistake.
Right.
Then I told another waitress where the fuck I'd be. That's the tagline to this particularly. But it's directed by Mark L. Lester. And Doc, you're the action king. What is Mark L. Lester best known for?
Commando, Showdown in Little Tokyo, Class of 1984, is it?
Yeah.
What else has he done? He's done some awesome films, but I just can't fucking remember them.
He made Stealing Candy
Yeah, that's not one of them.
with Daniel Baldwin and Coolio in it.
No, of course. Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, Lord.
Forgot about that classic. He produced Truck Stop Women in 1974, as well as Bobby Joe and the Outlaw.
Let me have a look. Firestarter.
Hitman's Run with everyone's favourite man and yours, Eric Roberts, and C. Thomas Howell.
Ooh.
Poseidon Rex.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, Hitman's Run, The Base, The X, Night of the Running Man, Extreme Justice, which is awesome. Class of 1999, Armed and Dangerous with John Candy.
Ooh.
Ooh, wow.
But he's a well-known action director. He's done some things of note.
Yes. Oh, well, you direct Commando, that's it. You
Yeah.
go down in history books as directing the greatest movie of all time.
And it's interesting to point out that although it only has 901 votes, and I find it incredible that 901 people have seen this movie, but even though it only has
Did this movie even come out in the theater?
It was.
It's not listed.
It's not listed on IMDb as video, so I assume it must have had a limited theatrical release, probably in Japan. It had a Japanese release. It had USA. It was a TV premiere, but it came out. It came out on video in Norway and Sweden, and came out in the cinema in Japan, South Korea, and South Africa.
Oh, they love that shit.
They really do. It's known in Spain as Fugitivo en la Noches.
And that's how I'm going to refer to it from now on.
But Night of the Fugitive is what it's known as around the world. Night of the Running Man here in the US, I presume, so that people might think it's a sequel to the Arnie movie.
I got asked that.
That's what I was going to say.
I got asked that 4 times when I was telling people what I was watching. They're like, "Oh, is that a sequel?" I'm like, "No, it's not."
No, it's a cat and mouse game between the poor man's Clint Eastwood, Scott Glenn, and and rug-faced Andrew McCarthy, and some I think softcore porn actresses, because that's clearly the only reason they were in this movie.
Yeah, I think those sex scenes were real. I think Scott Glenn said, "I'll be in the film, but I really want to fuck some prostitutes on set."
Was there anything more unappealing than
Scott Glenn arse?
Scott Glenn having sex in a movie? Is there really anything more? And not just sex, but like wild, crazy sex.
Well, obviously Andrew McCarthy having sex in a movie. Duh.
No, I think Scott Glenn is still far worse to watch boning than McCarthy. I think
Scott Glenn having sex with Andrew McCarthy. It's an end credit sequence. It's very good.
It's very good. And do you know that?
It's right after the credits are over.
You can tell how politically correct it was in the 90s, because Catherine Middleton, who played Scott Glenn's love interest at the beginning of the movie, is simply referred to in the credits as Eckhart's babe, which lets you know sort of the level of what the screenwriter was thinking of. And wisely, instead of using her name, Catherine Middleton went as Catherine Lautner, because she didn't want anyone to know what the hell she was doing. But she has appeared in Dexter and The West Wing and a movie called Black Hole. That's probably another sex one. Wrong Number, definitely another sex one. What Women Want.
Not Scott Glenn.
Not Scott Glenn. 2 Bits and Pepper, and To the Limit, where she played Nurse Ellen. So, yeah, she's been in some movies and some TV shows.
Won 2 Oscars.
I wonder if in her Oscar show reel they would show...
when she dies, they just go, and she died.
Yeah, she walks butt-ass naked out of the bathroom back to his bed, bush and all. Do you think that they would show that in the...
They fucking better.
in the Golden Globes exception.
In fact, that's all it should be, is just that one scene. And then she makes her acceptance speech in the nude.
She makes an acceptance speech with a giant screen of her nude bush in the background. That would be
on a separate note,
that's all you need.
You know in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation?
Yeah.
You know when he's talking to that girl at the till, and she says her name's Mary?
Yeah.
She's 62.
Now?
She's now 62.
Wow, that's incredible. What made you look that up?
I was watching
That's Paul's favorite scene from the movie.
No, it's not. Yeah, it is.
Oh, I thought it was. Yeah, it should be. It better be.
No, me and my wife was looking up random things on IMDb yesterday. I just thought I'd throw it in there. There you go.
Getting the show off with a bang.
Yeah, just Happy Christmas and all that shit.
What's incredible is that the woman in Night of the Running Man doesn't appear to be
a woman.
Doesn't appear to be listed right away. I'm scrolling. I guess it's done in appearance. Is she Roz Chambers? Is that her name?
She's listed as Logan's babe.
The nurse who just happened to help him out. John Glover, Wayne Newton is in this movie. John Glover from Gremlins 2, of course.
It's got some great names in it. Homeless Man, Thug, Ernie.
Mugger.
Is this now Marcy Goldman? Is that who it was? Also known for Kentucky Fried Movie, Airplane, and Naked Gun 33 1/3. Is that the blonde nurse? I don't know. It's difficult to tell because now she's got red hair and she's old.
I got to tell you, I just watched that movie today and I don't even remember what the fuck she looks like. So.
Oh no, she looked all right, but she looked great in the nude. Just not, sadly, for Andrew McCarthy, because his hair was in the way. He couldn't see. But let's quickly go over this movie. Let's not make it too long talking about this one. But basically, it is a case of a cab driver in Vegas who gets hailed one night by a mob dude who's stolen $1 million from a casino. His cab promptly gets shot at and smashed up. The mob guy gets run over. And then Andrew McCarthy finds the suitcase with the $1 million in his cab, reckons that he's dead either way, because they'll come find him and take the money either way, so decides to abscond with the money. Hot on his heels is Scott Glenn, and it sort of takes place in Vegas, Utah, and L.A., the only problem I had with the movie, I thought it was a perfectly good kind of 90s action thriller. The only problem I had with the movie is that after
it just wasn't long enough.
After there wasn't
short enough.
Yeah, there wasn't enough Scott Glenn buttocks. I could have done with more of that. But no, the other problem was when he realized he'd already made the mistake of telling the waitress where he was going to be, and then Scott Glenn finding him so easily. He should have, at that point, become more clever in the way he slipped Glenn's clutches, and yet he wasn't. So, yeah.
I think a lot of that had to do was so that they could constantly make the joke over and over again, or specifically Scott Glenn make the joke over and over again that he should be a gambler because, he keeps taking all these chances.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is you're right. Andrew McCarthy's character, Jerry, in this is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Who just keeps, and then the nurse who's taking care of him at the end, she's a big fucking idiot because it's if you asking for somebody to cover your shift, don't say, oh, it's because I'm going to be moonlighting, house nursing the guy who just came in with the burned feet.
Yeah, over at the hotel that's only 10 minutes away.
And tell them the fucking hotel you're going to be at.
Yeah. This nurse who, by the way, has a car and can drive anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
You can literally drive out into the middle of Arizona, buy yourself a teepee and hide in it for a couple of days. Glenn would never find you.
Right.
I mean, you're in Vegas, you're surrounded by
desert.
A
shit film, though, wouldn't it?
But you're surrounded by desert in 3 hours in any direction. You're already a criminal and on the... Steal a car and just drive. Glenn would never find you.
Maybe it's because he's got no money. Oh, wait, no, he's got a bag with $1 million in it.
He's got a bag with $1 million in it. Not only that, but he goes to the Amtrak place, gives them his real name, buys a ticket, checks exactly where the train stops. And instead of going, right, I'm not getting on that train... And like I say, buying a ticket and then maybe getting a ticket on a plane somewhere else or driving out of Vegas or whatever it is so that Scott Glenn thinks he's on that train. Instead of doing that, he actually gets on the train and gets off where he says he's going to, which he also tells to the waitress.
Yeah.
Who gets thrown off Hoover Dam.
Here's a quick question, because I've never known this. You know when you fly anywhere in the America, do you need your passport?
No, you need ID.
Yeah, not within the country. You don't.
Okay.
And back in '96, I'm not even sure you needed that. 95,
so he could have got a plane somewhere.
He'd be at the airport checking out everything, and he'd be looking in his bag, and it'd be like, $1 million and a gun. Yeah, you can go and get on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, pre 9/11 America, you could take anything anywhere. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
What's that ticking?
Drink and drive. You could stick a dead hooker in a bag. You'd be absolutely fine. They wouldn't bat an eyelid.
Can you still do that?
No.
Yeah.
Shit.
Now you can't even walk out of your house without getting searched.
But that's actually my favorite part about post 9/11 America, though. I've been getting so much more action since then.
Yeah, Moe's rectum has shown up on more man's fingers than anything else. It's quite
true. It's
quite
true. But let's not talk about my current job situation.
No. So, what did everyone think about Night of the Running Man? Let's start with you, Matt. Just a brief feeling on it, and then score out of 5.
I'd say okay, not great. It's understandable why they probably didn't put him in any more action movies after this, because maybe they felt he was kind of out of place in it. But like Mo said, it's true. He basically does everything in this film that you would not do in real life. And for as far as the rating goes, this feels more like this is like something you would watch on TV and everything. So I'd say out of 5, I would say 2.
A 2. Okay, 2 out of 5. It's actually one of his higher rated. Out of the 901 people that have voted for it, it actually gets 5.9 out of 10, which actually out of Andrew McCarthy's career is quite a high rating on IMDb.
That's what we call an Andrew McCarthy fucking masterpiece.
That's what we call classic McCarthy.
Wow.
But you would give it a 2 out of 5. Okay, so not a high rating from Matt. Doc, what did you feel about this? You're the action fan.
As an action fan, I think it's a really good film.
Yeah.
It's pure B movie. It moves along briskly. Scott Glenn's great in it. Andrew McCarthy's stupid in it, but he plays stupid really fucking well.
He really does.
Yeah. And,
Except in Weekend at Bernie's 2, where he can't seem to understand how to play anything. But anyway, we'll get to that.
It's got some good set pieces. The feet burning's really good.
Oh, the feet burning's horrible.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And
My favorite moment of the movie.
Out of 5, I'd give it a 3.5.
3.5. Okay. Mo, what was your feeling on Night of the Running Man?
I will totally agree with the feet burning scene. It's the only part of the movie I really, truly enjoyed.
If you want to see McCarthy tortured painfully by John Glover.
And this was the last movie that I watched in of these 9. So by the time I got to there, I really wanted to see him tortured. So but I think I kind of agree with Doc a little bit. I think it's a pretty by the numbers, action thriller. It's not amazing. But it's not terrible. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen movies way worse than this. In fact, I have a podcast devoted to movies that are way worse than this. So
it was the only time that Lee Wells ever wrote a screenplay.
But I'll give it I don't know. I'll give it 2 zucchinis and a sombrero.
Nice. That's about what it's worth. Yeah. I mean, for me, this movie was all about the weirdly energetic sex scenes.
Yeah, right.
They were like weirdly enthusiastic. The fact that the movie trope of McCarthy, even though it was really only 2 days in the story of the movie, each time we saw McCarthy trying to walk on his burnt up feet, it was a little easier for him, even though in reality it was only been 2 days. It was just in movie logic. You're like, well, each time we cut back to him, it's healed more, right? Which is great. I thought that the ending fight in the basement was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I thought the fact that they actually filmed it on location in all the places that they said it was pretty good. I like that it started in Vegas. I like that you got 2 pairs of healthy titties, some Scott Glenn ass, and you got the wonderful Wayne Newton. You can't ask much more than that. John Glover is my favorite character in the whole movie. He was tremendous. I liked him a lot. And, I mean, overall, I thought it was one of those things where you're like, how did this ever get fucking made? That's ridiculous. Also, how did they ever con Scott Glenn into being in it? You know why Andrew McCarthy's in it, because at this point he'll pick up any role for a piece of pizza and a handshake. But beyond...
Yes, handshake.
Yeah. But beyond that, I would give it a solid... I'd probably give it a solid 3 out of 5. I enjoyed it. In fact, for me, the Andrew McCarthy movies, in the order that I watched them, got easier to watch each time. And this was certainly way, way more successful than the other movie I thought was going to be an action movie, Year of the Gun, which that was such a painful watch. Anyway, Night of the Running Man, I think, was successful. So it's 3.5, 2 pickles and a sombrero, and 2 from Matt. I think a fair... rounding up or a fair approximation of Night of the Running Man there. All good. So what's next on the list after Night of the Running Man? It is Weekend at Bernie's 2. Did everyone watch this movie?
I like the way John got away from that movie real quick.
Yeah. Did everyone watch Weekend at Bernie's 2?
I think I've seen it, but I didn't watch it for this. I didn't watch Year of the Gun either.
Oh, I was hoping you'd only watched Year of the Gun, so it could be like Roger Moore, where you only watched Gold.
Oh, yeah.
No, I've not. I think I've seen it. But I didn't watch it for this because you were all saying how shit it was. So.
Yeah. I just like...
Because, Paul, you love the first one. You said you've seen that one like 10 times this year.
Oh, no. Oh, Weekend at Bernie's. I fucking love Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
It's probably my Gone with the Wind.
It's gone with my wind, I can tell you that much. Year of the Gun was definitely this year's Gold. That's definitely what it was.
When we get to it, I'll talk about it. But yeah, let's go into Weekend at Bernie's 2.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Gold is still 50 times better than Year of the Gun. I'm just saying in terms of...
Gold is fucking amazing. Great soundtrack, great script.
I watched that 10 times this year.
Yeah.
Just for the toe fucking scene.
In fact, I watched Gold just to get ready for this podcast.
For this podcast. We all watch Gold before we talk to each other. And
I make my wife watch it before we make the love to get her wetted up.
hearing that opening theme song.
Yeah, exactly. That just gets Doc and his wife in the mood. However, Weekend at Bernie's 2, it seems odd to be doing it this way round. But Weekend at Bernie's 2, if people have not seen Weekend at Bernie's or Weekend at Bernie's 2, basically Andrew McCarthy and the uncharming, like it's let's take 2 of the blandest actors and try and put them in a wacky comedy. Jonathan Silverman and Andrew McCarthy in Weekend at Bernie's. Their boss, who has embezzled $2 million. That was funny about Night of the Running Man. It was basically a remake of Weekend at Bernie's without the
corpse. Yeah, exactly.
Right. It was like remaking it because someone had embezzled a twattishly small amount of money. I mean, even in the 90s, $1 million was nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's argue for this sake that the $2 million is a lot of money. So in the first...
I'll have $2 million.
Yeah, no, I would love it, but I'm just saying.
$2 million would be a lot for any of us.
Yeah,
but not for somebody who like Bernie, who's at the fucking like top of his game, so to speak. You know,
Wall Street guy.
Yeah. Wall Street guy, please.
His wig's probably worth $2 million.
Well, what's hilarious is the actor doesn't have a wig. They make him bald in the first movie just to do the gag, because in the second movie that actor is underwater and it's clearly not a wig. It's clearly like his hair, right?
Well, yeah, well, don't forget they did staple his hair back on in the first one. So
no, I understand. I just mean in reality, I think in the first one when they pull his wig off, it looks like he's wearing a bald cap. It doesn't look like he's really bald.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Anyway, so he takes them down to Long Island, right? It's meant to be out in the Hamptons.
Yep.
but it was actually filmed in North Carolina. But takes them to the Hamptons and to his big beach property where they're going to, he tells them, figure out this missing money. And instead plans to have them killed. However,
is this Weekend at Bernie's 1 or Weekend at Bernie's 2?
Well, I'm just recapping both of them because we've got to talk about both of them. And doing it back to front seems a bit silly. Well,
I mean, in this case, we can do Bernie's 1 and then do Bernie's 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, that's kind of basically what we'll talk about them together because really they're similar in plot and stuff.
And we'll talk about the reason why. Right, well, this should have been a trilogy too.
It should have been.
So, I mean, when you talk about The Godfather, you can't not mention The Godfather Part 2.
Yeah, right.
So let's do the same with Weekend at Bernie's.
When you talk about The Godfather as one of the...
That's the first time ever that The Godfather and Weekend at Bernie's have been mentioned in the same sentence.
No, Doc and I mention them all the time together. It's just private.
Yeah, that's all we talk about.
When we're talking about greatest film trilogies that could have been, but weren't. They go down to Long Island, and instead, Bernie, the mob people, instead decide to kill Bernie and get the money back. Because he's become a liability and he's fucking the mob boss's girlfriend. So when Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman, two schlubs from the computer department and the accounts department, show up at Bernie's palatial pad in the Hamptons, Bernie is dead, but they decide, because they find the money and they also find out that he was going to have them killed, they decide to continue the ruse that he's really alive. And then
because that makes sense.
Yeah, because that makes sense. Lots of sort of slapstick gags with a corpse ensues, including the aforementioned mob boss's girlfriend bonking Bernie in his bedroom, which is assumed necrophilia. And then in the sequel, they conveniently forget the fact that at the end of the first one, the suitcase with the money is actually in the house, and instead claim that Bernie somehow, even though he was dead, hid it down at the U.S. Virgin Islands, which means that apparently we can do lots of poor taste voodoo jokes. I
didn't find anything poor taste about any of the voodoo jokes in this.
Have two 90s kind of...
Very 90s.
Very, very 90s hip-hop rap type guys in a bathroom of a porno theater on 42nd Street do a voodoo ritual, which means that Bernie's corpse, hilariously, I thought, can only move when music is playing. But when the music is playing, Bernie starts to walk or move towards where the money is.
Yep.
Cue them all
and then whenever the music stops, we see plenty of shots of Bernie either falling on the back of his head or falling on his face.
Exactly. So then cue lots of fun in the sun, let's just say.
Bodily damage.
With Terry Kaiser reprising his role as Bernie, and Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman reprising their roles. This time hunted down in the second one by Barry Bostwick, who is tremendous. And Steve James is in there. Tom Wright is in there. Tom Wright, who's gone on... He was in Marked for Death, but has gone on to be in Barbershop, Murder at the 1600, and lots of other things besides. And Barry Bostwick, who everyone knows, is from Rocky Horror Picture Show. Also in there is Stack Pierce, a legend from the blaxploitation era.
And Morgan Freeman.
No, Morgan Freeman is not in there. But also wasn't one of the dudes who was with the voodoo priestess, wasn't he the guy from CSI Las Vegas? I think he was.
Not sure.
Gary Dourdan. That's it. Yeah, Gary Dourdan. Yeah. He was one of those guys as well. So, I actually prefer Weekend at Bernie's 2. I actually think it's a better movie.
Wow.
I think it's funnier. The only person...
Really?
Yeah. The only person who's worse in this, the only person who's less funny in this, and in fact, I would say it's his worst performance ever given ever, and that's Andrew McCarthy, who seems to trying to be playing it like Michael J. Fox on speed.
Well, I got to tell you, man, one of the biggest mysteries about Weekend at Bernie's 2 is how Jonathan Silverman inexplicably gains a New York accent and then loses it, and then gains it, and then loses it, and then gains it, and then loses it.
Right.
Like, yeah. I got to tell you, their performance, like the two main characters, as forgettable as they are in the first film, they're just so much more forgettable in this one, except for the fact that they're trying so much harder.
Well, that's Mo's right about the two. I think they're trying too hard, actually, and especially with the second one compared to the first one, that you only have like so much of Bernie being slumped around or bumped around. Here, you have to endure it for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right, but you have the added benefit that every time music plays, Terry Kaiser does quite possibly the funniest dance.
I got to tell you, his pantomiming in this is
tremendous.
On point. It's really, really good.
It really is.
Yeah, I'll totally give that one.
That's one of the funniest parts of the movie. Yeah, because you have
not one of. It's the only funny part about the movie.
No, yeah. I quite like the fact that if they didn't get it done, that they were slowly turning into goats. I thought that was quite funny as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing, like I said, when Bernie gets into the conga line and everything with the girl, and then they find him on the beach the next morning, this line still makes me laugh for some reason. When, how did you happen to meet Bernie? She goes, in the conga line. And McCarthy says, am I the only one alive who's not in the conga line?
That was about McCarthy's best bit. That still makes
me laugh.
Yeah, that was about the best bit in the whole movie was when McCarthy, for McCarthy. But what's really, the thing that threw me about Weekend at Bernie's 2, because I'd never seen it until this viewing, was that, Weekend at Bernie's, it's fine, it's fun, but I've seen it a whole bunch of times, and it doesn't really, you kind of watch Weekend at Bernie's, and by the end of it, kind of go, who okayed any of this?
Right.
Who said it? And even McCarthy himself, when he was at Philly Comic-Con, and he was doing a Q&A before a screening of Bernie's, basically said, we got a bunch of money based off the idea, and then we went away and made it up as we went along. And the first movie very much feels like it was made up as they went along. Whereas, weirdly enough, the other peculiar thing about Weekend at Bernie's 2 is it's a full, 4 years after the first movie. It's not I thought they made them back-to-back, because, why wouldn't you make them back-to-back and cash in on whatever fucking credentials Bernie had? Why wait 4 years and then go, let's go back to that dead Bernie well all over?
Yeah, because so many people ask, what warranted doing a sequel? What warranted doing it? Because somebody said that on Facebook. I said, what warranted a sequel? Because the first one was a big hit, and it was a big home video hit, too.
Yeah, so I guess what it was that it came out, and when it hit on video, which would have been back then probably 2 years later, that's probably when they went, okay, let's rev up the Weekend at Bernie's engine again and get it firing. But I actually think that as Weekend at Bernie's 2 has a really bad rap, and Andrew McCarthy himself said we shouldn't have done a sequel, and it had even less planning than the first one, and blah, 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 blah. I actually think Weekend at Bernie's 2 is just the more solid film. The set pieces feel more worked out. The jokes feel like actual jokes that they've tried to structure. The set pieces have more gumption and weirdness and madness to them. There's a shark. There's Bernie strapped to a rickshaw at the end, which is hilarious. There's all sorts of stuff which I really enjoyed in the second one that I just kind of thought the first one was just a bit. The first one began to pale for me for some reason.
Yeah. You also kind of wonder after the second film, what really eventually happened to Bernie? Did you see him walking off in the parade at the end? I mean, did he end up at a dumpster somewhere or landfill? Or you kind of wonder.
James Spader fucked him.
I was just about to say the goats double teamed him, but yeah, maybe Spader did. No, I just think the weirdest thing about Weekend at Bernie's 2 is Andrew McCarthy, because it's like he's forgotten how to act wacky. You know what I mean?
we kind of talked about this earlier on Facebook about how it's really weird to see, because normally when actors do a lot of work over a long period of time, you see them start to get better and better at their craft, and McCarthy does the exact opposite. He's really top of his game, right at the beginning, he's pretty good, and then he gets a little bit better, and then it's just a slow decline it just gets worse worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, the weirdest thing about McCarthy as well is that he kind of...
Well, Robert De Niro's a bit like that.
But there's a difference, though, because De Niro's just phoning a lot of his performances in and can still do really great work if he wants.
Yeah, right.
Now, why we're comparing De Niro to McCarthy is beyond me.
Did anyone see The Intern? I mean, when Robert De Niro wants to do great work, he really can.
He can. I wonder. I wonder if that's the same for McCarthy.
Yeah, no,
you're right about that because in the second one he's really like most said off of his game, and he's just kind of like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, I mean, what's weird about
check?
Yeah, exactly. Paycheck.
Yeah.
But what's weird also about McCarthy is that it was clear that Hollywood had no idea kind of what to do with him.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a certain, like, certainly in stuff like Less Than Zero, Pretty in Pink, and Class, and to some extent St.Elmo'S Fire, there is a sort of McCarthy sort of stereotypical performance. But then in some of the other movies, Mannequin, Weekend at Bernie's, things like that, when he's called on to be more like the funny guy, like the wacky guy, he feels just sort of out of place. Like Mannequin is fine to some extent because when he's playing like the cocky shit who keeps getting away with crazy stuff, he can do that. But like the bit in Mannequin where they're trying to do the rock music montage and he's dressing up and all these different things, he looks so unbelievably awkward doing anything sort of approaching fun. You know what I mean?
You know, I got to tell you, getting back to the Bernie movies for a second, I honestly and truly believe that one of the funniest moments of the two films combined is at the very beginning of the first one, where there's that fat old Italian guy spraying down his sidewalk and then accidentally sprays one of the guys who walks by and then hikes his pants up as high as he can and walks off. I laughed way harder at that than I did at anything else that happened in any of the two movies combined.
There's another great line in the first one too from McCarthy after we realized that even though Bernie is dead, he's been with his girlfriend again, and McCarthy says, "Like that, I get laid more dead than I do alive."
Yeah.
See, and I don't think that's a funny line. So.
Also, considering we find out in the second one that Andrew McCarthy is apparently still a virgin.
That's bullshit. Is that real?
Not in the movie. That's real life.
In real life, Andrew McCarthy went through the whole Brat Pack era and never once got laid. Yeah, apparently James Spader gave him the dirty finger around the back of a dumpster one evening.
Not a virgin, then, is it?
No.
And there are a few people out there, I've talked to who actually said they wanted to see a third one, but, you know, I don't think it's a really good idea to ride that horse again. So.
Well, it'd be like beating a dead horse.
It would be like beating a dead Bernie.
If they did Bernie now, there wouldn't be anything left.
Not to mention the fact that, you know, like, it doesn't take that long for a corpse to, I mean, especially in that kind of heat and humidity, to start breaking down.
If they made it now, kids on the internet would be going, "Oh, it's offensive to dead people." So you couldn't make it.
Yeah. But this was, the first one was a big hit, and well, of course, Siskel and Ebert, I saw their review again recently, and they tore it to shreds.
Well, they tore everything to shreds. They had no senses of humor. I love that, like, Ebert wrote, what was it? Faster Pussycat Kill, didn't he co-write that?
No. It was
Beyond the
Valley of the Dolls. Okay, but he wrote one of the Russ Meyer movies, right? Which are not known for their screenwriting talent, and yet for the next 30 years sat around and told everyone where they went wrong with their screenplay. Look, I
fucking judged people.
Yeah. Listen, I love me some big floppy-titted Russ Meyer movies. Don't get me wrong with that. But Weekend at Bernie's 2, they are not. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, you're probably the only person I ever talked to who said they liked the second one better than the first, because most hardcore fans, they take the second one and just like, nah, I can do without it.
No, you see, I would much rather watch the second one again. And
you always like to go against the grain.
In all honesty, I would have quite happily watched Weekend at Bernie's 3. I wouldn't have had a problem, but only if he kept moving with the music, because watching Terry Kaiser come up off the floor with his like hips
Well,
going.
What else
somebody
has he done?
Somebody should start a Kickstarter for that, because McCarthy be on board regardless he bashed the second one.
But it should be like Weekend at Bernie's, but it's actually like 25, 30 years later or whatever long it's been, and Bernie's just like a walking skeleton. You know?
That'd be fun. But all done with like Ray Harryhausen style effects.
No, practical effects. We'll get a real corpse.
Okay. Well, Terry Kaiser probably is a real corpse at this point. No, he's still alive. But so, what else has Terry Kaiser been in? Is that what people are asking?
Yeah, I mean, you said that, Matt, and you said get a Kickstarter started, and Andrew McCarthy'd be on board. Jonathan Silverman would be so much more on board.
Yeah, Silverman. Have you seen what Silverman's been doing?
He'd be like, there's $1 in it for you, Jonathan. He'd be like, fuck it, I'm in.
So what else was Terry Kaiser in? He was the evil psychiatrist in Friday the 13th Part 7.
Yes, he was.
To give you an idea of what Jonathan Silverman is up to these days, he has a film currently filming called Robo-Dog Unleashed.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, my God.
But
the director of Weekend at Bernie's?
Yeah.
You know what he's done, don't you? You know what film a couple of films that he's done?
Yeah, didn't he do Kramer versus Kramer?
Wow.
He did Uncommon Valor.
Oh, wow, okay.
And First Blood.
Holy moly.
Ted Kotcheff, yes, he did. And he did European Vacation.
This is the director of the first Weekend at Bernie's.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a different director for the second. Who
he did a couple of episodes of Red Shoe Diaries as well. And Casualty. He did an episode of fucking Casualty, John.
Who did? Ted Kotcheff?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
No.
Meanwhile, the director of the second film
died.
Only has probably no, he hasn't yet. But the last thing he directed was a TV movie called The Odd Couple Together Again back in '93.
Wait a minute, he directed an episode of Casualty in 1992.
Yeah.
So he still made movies after doing one episode of Casualty. That's so fun. Now, that's got to be an IMDb error. I don't believe that Ted Kotcheff went, I've worked with Stallone, I've worked with Gene Hackman, I've worked with Andrew
Silverman.
Jonathan Silverman. Fuck it, I'm going back to England to do Casualty.
Bernie, yeah.
That's completely bizarre.
In case you didn't know, guys, Casualty is this long-running series in England about a casualty department. It's utter shit.
It's like ER, but imagine ER made on the budget of Sunset Beach. That's kind of what you're talking at. But what's really interesting...
But you're right, John. It seemed like, I don't know why they waited so long to do a sequel for Bernie's. I mean, like you said, it was like a 5-year gap or something?
Yeah, a 4-year gap. But I'll tell you what's interesting is that Robert Klein, who would go on to write and direct the sequel, worked with Ted Kotcheff again. They were so happy with Weekend at Bernie's that they paired together Don Amici and Tom Selleck without a mustache. So you know that film is terrible. Selleck without a mustache, it's going to fail. For folks! ! Which is...
Do you think he works like... It's pay grade, Tom Selleck. He's like, how much is she going to give me for the film, Tom Selleck? And they go, 1 million? He goes, 1 million, you don't get the tash.
You don't get the tash.
I'll shave the fucker. Give me 2 million, you get Selleck and the tash. Box office gold.
But I would have to say, I mean, I don't know what money he made off it, probably quite a lot. But Terry Kaiser has got to be applauded heartily for his work in Weekend Bernie's and Weekend Bernie's 2. I mean, it really is absolutely sterling work, considering most people watching it probably thought that was a dummy for 50% of the time, yet most of the time it was actually him.
No, the dummy was Jonathan Silverman.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is then, next year we do a retrospective on Terry Kaiser.
No, I would never recommend that.
Oh God, let's not do that, please.
No, let's never do that. Because
he was in the Golden Girls, though, Mo.
He was. That's
he
true.
was in an episode of the Golden Girls. He was also in Bail Out, a TV series. I don't know what channel that was on. He was also in a TV series that was short run called Johnny Dynamo, and played the character Mickey Petrucelli. So there we go. He was also in a TV series called
Johnny Dynamo. That's like if you put me and you together.
He
Yeah,
was also
exactly.
in Mannequin on the Move.
Was
oh, God,
he?
yeah.
Yeah.
He was in the
That's it.
sequel to Mannequin.
Yeah.
I bet Andrew McCarthy was like, I'll come back for them. They went, oh, Terry Kaiser's in it. He's going, nah, fuck it then.
Fuck it, I don't want to work with
He was a
Kaiser
cunt on Bernie's.
I ain't gonna top
Yeah.
that.
Or
What's
maybe- or
interesting
maybe
is
he
he-
maybe
is
he
he-
reached the point that when he was offered Mannequin 2, he said, "No, I got this franchise called Bernie's now."
Yeah, I got Weekend at Bernie's cash.
I don't think you realise, but I'm quite a big deal.
I don't come back for no fucking a doll movie. However, I will Kurt Kaiser's ass around for another movie. Yeah, I mean, Weekend at Bernie's 1 then. Let's talk briefly about that. Doc, it's your favourite film. Why don't you talk about it?
It's not a favourite film of all time.
It's your
Just
favourite
my
film of all
film
time.
of the 80s.
Okay.
Was it in 90s? I think it's 90s, isn't
No,
it?
it's 89.
89, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just a good, fun film. Dead guy being all oofed around by two knobheads. What's not to love? What is not to love? It's a good film. I enjoyed it. My kids enjoy it. Andrew McCarthy's good in it.
Your kids tell you that they enjoy it when you force it upon them.
I said to him, I'm doing a podcast, and they went, what are you talking about? I went, the guy who was in Weekend at Bernie's, and they were like, I love that film. And I was like, what's fucking wrong with you? There's great films upstairs, watch them. But no, they really enjoy it.
Just in the same way that I used to say to my dad, yeah, of course I want to come to your Gilbert and Sullivan evening.
Yeah, don't compare Weekend at Bernie's to Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Gilbert and Sullivan, not Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Oh, it's a different one I'm thinking of then.
Yeah.
Gilbert O'Sullivan's a porn actor.
That was Gilbert Sullivan. That was a different thing entirely.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but Weekend at Bernie's is good. Weekend at Bernie's is good. It's fun.
It's good.
It's stupid. It's
But why do you prefer it to the second one?
because I've not really seen the second one.
Okay, so you're probably the wrong person to ask then.
And the fact that you've just talked about it and said that he dances to a beat makes me think that I'm never going to see it.
You have to see it, dude, because there's this bit where they have this this reggae samba on a beatbox in a shitty toilet, and the guys are stood either side of the toilet, and they press the music on, and Bernie's corpse gets up off the toilet and starts to samba out of the bathtub. That is unbelievably funny. I was laughing the whole time.
Then he stops for the first time, and then he falls back on his back where he goes, "Ain't this a bitch?"
Yeah.
I think what's pretty hilarious, especially with the second one, is keeping on with the him dancing to the beat sort of thing, is that he does this sort of walk where he's leaning so far back, you just constantly expect him to fall over, but he manages to keep going. That's what I'm saying. His mime work in 2 is so good.
Yeah, and part of 2, he is dressed well. Most of the second half of it, considering it's filmed on a tropical island, he is dressed in a massive overcoat and several layers underneath, and he's still doing all this pantomime stuff. There's a whole sequence where Terry Kaiser, as a corpse, is walking and dancing underwater.
Yeah.
Along the seabed with headphones on and stuff like that. And it's, even if it was filmed in a swimming pool, it's still heavy stuff that Kaiser's doing. There's one bit where
really just sound like you're doing a retrospective on him when he's died, saying how great he is.
And if it isn't bad enough that all the punishment that Bernie's been through, McCarthy has to go and put a spear through his head.
Yeah. I think you would like it, Doc. I think it's...
Did you get a spear through it?
He really does. Yeah, that's how they control him on the rickshaw. They attach ropes to the sides of the spears through his head.
Okay, sold. I'll watch it.
It is tremendous.
And of course, and now you're selling me on it, honestly, because when I was thinking about him back on the movies, I was thinking that I really didn't like 2 all that much, and now I'm thinking about all the things that I did like in 2. I love the fact, especially with what's his name? With Barry Bostwick's character, how he keeps going more and more insane because he keeps thinking that he's seeing Bernie, even though they've told him that Bernie's dead a million times, I
have seen it, but I just cannot remember it.
And especially the scene underwater where conveniently enough, the tour guide tells everybody to look at the other side of the boat, and he looks out the window, and there's Bernie underwater, and of course his reaction is, stop this thing, I gotta get out, and I'm like, they're like, guy, we're underwater, But it's great though, because he just gets more and more insane as the film progresses. So I think I'm with you now, John. I think I'm with you. I think I like 2 better than 1.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, Barry Bostwick makes this movie.
He really does. He does.
Ted Kaiser makes this movie. Terry Kaiser makes this
Kaiser,
movie.
Yeah.
And I think for Barry Bostwick and Terry Kaiser, you can't do much better than this. I enjoyed it.
And the unintentional comedy of McCarthy and Silverman in part 2 kind of works as well.
Well,
because
my biggest
they're
problem
both so fucking terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Silverman is like attempting to underact, and
Right.
Andrew McCarthy. What the weird thing about,
And
I'll say it
the
again,
other-
the weird thing about Weekend at Bernie's 2 is it's like watching Andrew McCarthy has forgotten how to act. It's completely bizarre.
Yeah, and it's also the other weird thing too, when they putting Bernie into a suitcase, folding his legs backwards and his arms back the other way, and then putting him into the refrigerator.
Yeah, well, you
What
can do that
Rigger
with
is saying.
corpses. It's fine.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Yeah.
But no, I think all the New York stuff is great. All the stuff down the beach. I was a big fan of Weekend at Bernie's too, and I like Weekend at Bernie's. But I'm more of a fan of Weekend at Bernie's too. But do we need to say anything more on these 2 movies?
Paul's gonna watch the second one and say, yeah, I agree. I like 2 better as well.
Yeah, it's a fucking masterpiece.
So Weekend at Bernie's then out of 5, Mo?
The first one?
The first one, yeah.
The first one is pretty middling. It's not bad, but I'd say it's probably like a 3.
Okay. And Matt, Weekend at Bernie's number 1.
Number 1, fun one. That's I would go a little bit more than that because I've seen it more times and I've enjoyed it more. So I would go 3.5.
Okay.
Oh, well, la-di-da, Mr. Half a Point.
I didn't change the rating on IMDb.
Doc, what about you, sir?
4.
You'd go 4 out of 5 for the
Yeah,
first one.
it's probably the best film ever made.
Ever made, sure.
He's like, what's that fucking Citizen Kane piece of shit?
Yeah, right. Well, no, I would honestly watch Weekend at Bernie's over Citizen Kane. That's an absolute fact.
Yeah, I probably would do.
Yeah.
Orson Welles, what a cunt.
Yeah, most definitely. But this only gets, considering it's probably McCarthy's most popular movie, this only gets 0.4 more points out of 10 than Night of the Running Man. However, it has been voted for almost 37,000 times.
Yeah.
Whereas Night of the Running Man, 901.
I set up 37,000 different IMDb accounts just to give it that.
Just to give it 6.3 out of 10. A man has devoted his life to setting up thousands of IMDb accounts just to vote
throw
Weekend
off the numbers.
just to vote Weekend at Bernie's, everyone's favorite 80s hit about a molested corpse. 6.3 out of 10. One would
Don't say
imagine.
molested corpse. That makes it sound wrong.
Can I just say the last thing I'm going to say?
Actually, he's a corpse that gets molested. So
It's true. He's like he's more accosted. But yeah,
No, a woman has sex with him. That's a molested corpse.
you know what? That's true. No, I take that back. All right, so
that was bugging me for a long time. I was trying to figure out who this girl was who's playing her, and I said, she looks familiar. And then I remembered, oh yeah, she was in Friday the 13th, Part 3.
Wow, so they just scoured the Friday, the lucrative Friday the 13th cast members, and
Oh
said,
yeah, the other one in Bernie's, the guy who plays the assassin was in Don Calfa was in Return of the Living Dead.
"Look at that! There's some horror history here, some horror pedigree."
But what I was going to say though about the Bernie's movies is that it's such dark subject matter. I mean, like the idea that they're like that these guys are, manipulating this corpse so that they could, live, so to speak. But that it's not a dark movie at all. Like they're bright and vibrant and funny, and like it doesn't go the weird super dark route that I probably would have gone with if I had made this movie. So I'll give them that. It's at least that's an achievement.
Also, I like the fact that the 80s ran so quickly through its storylines. Like they were going through the Brat Pack movies, and they were like, okay, we can do this storyline, this storyline. We've got school, we've got college, we've got a kind of graduate remake, we've got a couple of wacky comedies, we've got this, that, and everything else. Okay, where are we at now? I know, let's have fun with a corpse. Like, they got there really quickly. Like, it's 1989, and Andrew McCarthy has had a career for, at this point, about 5 years maybe. And, already he's fiddling with a corpse. So I have to say, that's pretty quick going.
That's what we should have called it.
Fiddling with a corpse.
Fiddling with a corpse.
Yeah, I mean, he starts his career fucking...
And I got to tell you, it took me way longer than that to start fiddling with corpses.
True. He starts his career having sex with a much
older woman. I was age 7 before I first wanked off my first corpse.
And you can hear more of that story on Doc's podcast, Childhood Tales.
With corpses.
Childhood Tales, the Doc Croson way.
A.K.A. Fiddling with corpses.
But if you think about Andrew McCarthy's career, when he starts out in 1983, he sleeps with a much older woman. Then in St.Elmo'S Fire, he sleeps with his friend's wife. In pearls, no less, on top of a coffin.
Yes.
In Pretty in Pink, he sleeps with everyone's favorite 80s sweetheart.
John Cryer.
James Spader. Molly Ringwald. In Mannequin, he fucks a doll. In Less Than Zero, he sleeps with the same woman as Robert Downey Jr. does while she's high on coke. In Year of the Gun, he fucks both Valeria Golino and Sharon Stone in one movie.
That was a banner year for.
I never thought about it. Never thought about it that way before. I mean, think about it. In Mannequin, he's dragging this doll around, and Weekend at Bernie's, he's dragging this body around. They kind of got into a loop.
It kind of sounds like my life story.
If anyone would play Doc in a movie, it would be Andrew McCarthy.
Or Bernie.
Or Bernie. Terry Kaiser.
You know, I got to tell you, just thinking about the idea of Andrew McCarthy trying to do Doc's accent would be just brilliant.
Yeah, that would be incredible. I would watch that.
I would totally watch that.
Me too.
And then in Night of the Running Man, he gets to sleep with a completely unknown nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And get to be on set when he sees Scott Glenn's buttocks. And who doesn't want that?
This movie is going to make $1 billion at the box office. Who doesn't want to see Scott Glenn's ass? But okay, so Weekend at Bernie's, we've gone around and rated that. I'm going to give it, I give Weekend at Bernie's 3 out of 5. It's not my favorite, but it's not my least favorite of the McCarthy movies. But it's not as funny, I think, with hindsight as it should be. But then it was never one of my favorites growing up, exactly. But I agree with all the points you made, Mo and Doc and Matt. So 3.5. It could be a lot worse, but I also feel like it could be a lot better. It was, however, for me, bettered by Weekend at Bernie's 2, which I'm going to give 4 out of 5 on. This is on the McCarthy scale, I might add, but a 4 out of 5 on losing only a point. It would be 5 out of 5, but it loses only a point because of McCarthy himself, who is awful in it.
Because you don't see Kaiser's cock.
Yeah. If you'd seen Ted Kaiser's ass unapologetically and energetically humping just another softcore actress's body, then I would have given it more points. But
on that scene on the beach, you do get to see him dry hump the sand.
You do, and for that's why it
change
bumps
it to 6 out of 5.
Rating keeps going up.
But no, 4 out of 5 for me for Weekend at Bernie's 2. What about you, Matt?
I easily would go. I'm going to do another half again. I go in 2.5, mainly because nobody argues about Congalon better than Andrew McCarthy.
Okay, and Mo, you watched it. What would you give Weekend at Bernie's to?
I'll give it 15 crickets out of 75.
Okay, good. That's probably what that answer will get. Lots of crickets.
Damn. Ouch.
No. Good. Ouch. So after Weekend at Bernie's 2, in between, this is what makes me laugh as well. In between Weekend at Bernie's and Weekend at Bernie's 2, undoubtedly his 2 goofiest and most ridiculous performances. He fits in several different movies, but he fits in a movie called Quiet Days in Clichy, which is a Claude Chabrol movie, which is a very kind of soft-core European French movie about Henry Miller and Alfred Perles in Paris, I think, or obviously also in Clichy. But I don't know all about it, but it's about sexual escapades and all the rest of it. And he stars opposite Nigel Havers, and I'm not kidding. Nigel Havers and Andrew McCarthy did a European sex film called Quiet Days at Clichy after Weekend at Bernie's. Why he followed Weekend at Bernie's up with this movie is anybody's guess, but he does. After that, he also does the aforementioned Year of the Gun, which is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It's so fucking
I'm just
bad.
going to go and get more beer and have a slash. So
All right.
while you're talking about that,
He does Dr. M, which is another Claude Chabrol movie. He's in 2 Claude Chabrol movies. Wow. Only in this one, he's degraded down to assassin, whereas Alan Bates and Jennifer Beals gets to play the main lead. That's called Dr. M. No, I don't know anything about that. Quiet Days of Clichy I've actually seen, but Dr. M I haven't. Then he does Year of the Gun. So he felt like, I guess, trying to establish himself as sort of an art house darling outside of Weekend at Bernie's. I mean, I don't know who his agent was, but his agent must have looked at his decision and gone, really? Like, how am I meant to sell you on this, McCarthy? You're an insane man. But Year of the Gun, Mo, do you want to sort of give a rundown what this movie's about?
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so it starts off with ugh, and then it turns to gah. And then by the time it's over, it's more like
Matt, do you want to help him out?
I don't think I can after that. I'm just going to say what Mo just said. That's all it is. It's a bad film. It is.
Okay, quick rundown. Basically, it's about a journalist who either lives or goes back to Italy to cover some political bullshit that's going on.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to read the plot summary from IMDb very quickly.
I thought I was doing well there, but
David Rayburn is an American journalist covering political news in Italy during 1970s. He is involved with the Red Brigades when trying to help his friend Alison King, who photographed them in action and discovered the mafia net is at all levels. Which it's not a particularly very concise or informative plot synopsis, but it'll do. No. Basically, shit's going down in the 70s. Liberals and communists are kicking off in the streets, and Andrew McCarthy and Sharon Stone are there to cover it. Andrew McCarthy has written a novel which may or may not reveal the true intentions of the mafia. The mafia believe that he's in on it and has somehow got secret underhand knowledge. He hasn't. He was just writing a Day of the Jackal style novel, which turned out to be true. And in the end, all sorts of things go down. It's directed by John Frankenheimer, who directed Ronin, which is actually
amazing.
One of my favorite movies.
He's one of my favorite directors.
And yet this is slow, turgid, and awful.
Thanks, Obama.
It's also got no attempt whatsoever to make it look like the 70s. Right. There is literally no attempt in this film, which was made in 1991, to make this look like the 70s at all.
Yeah, the closest thing they did to make it look like the 70s is they used really shitty film stock.
Right. But they didn't, like, no one dresses like it's the 70s at all. There isn't a wide collar or a pair of flared pants in sight.
Yeah, it's fucking Italy. You'd expect that the shit to be all over the place.
Well, we've seen the Argento movies of the early 80s and the 70s and so on, and the Fulci movies and so on. We know how Italians dressed in that decade, and it's absolutely ridiculous to have them all walking around dressed more or less like people who shopped in Kmart in 1989. So it's pretty awful, really. And this was meant to be like a twisty-turny, who you can trust thriller, but I didn't know what was going on for half the time, and the other half of the time I didn't care.
I got to tell you though, I had a lot of fun with this one only because the copy that I had.
Only because you were also watching Weekend at Bernie's 2 on the other screen.
That's true.
Yeah, at the same time.
Because when I watched this one, the copy that I found didn't have any subtitles for the Italian parts, so I just had to guess what everybody was saying.
That was the biggest problem, and I wonder if I would have liked the movie more.
See, no, you would. Trust me, you wouldn't.
The version you found was English, except for vast chunks of it which were in Italian,
right?
But had no English subtitles. Did, however, have French subtitles.
Had French subtitles,
which didn't help me at all. But really, it's unforgivable because in a movie where you get to see Valeria Golino and Sharon Stone's boobs in flagrante with McCarthy, it really should have therefore been much better. As it is, it was 2 hours of turgid arse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And just as it looked like it was going to get exciting, he put it down into slow motion just to make sure it didn't get any faster or exciting or interesting at all. So we can kind of glaze over that one, much as my eyes glazed over while watching it.
I got to ask one question.
Much as McCarthy's dried spunk glazed over Sharon Stone's nubbins.
I got to tell. Gross. I got to tell you, man. If anybody could explain to me why the Sharon Stone, I mean, except for the possibility of moving the plot forward, which seems to be the only reason it existed, why did the Sharon Stone sex scene happen at all?
Well,
because there wasn't any like playful banter, like sexy talk going on between them. It was just sort of like, there they are, and then all of a sudden they're fucking.
Yeah, it's because it's a Sharon Stone and Andrew McCarthy movie.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I understand why anybody would want to see, a Sharon Stone sex scene, but like it just like as far as I don't know why I'm trying to make sense of this fucking film, but like as far as like the film itself is concerned, it made no fucking sense. It was just completely gratuitous.
Because I guess that they had to have her wake up in the apartment the next day.
Right, exactly. They needed an excuse for her to be there to find his manuscript. That's it.
Yeah, and also because she was meant to be a, like, strong, sexual, exciting woman who lived on the edge of life. And also
Sharon
because...
Stone getting typecast again.
Yeah. And also because, spoilers, Doc, I'm sorry, I know you really wanted to see this one.
Oh, go on, spoiler away.
Also because Valeria Golino turns out to be the traitor or the one that goes against him and is also shot. So, if Hollywood movies dictate that you have to end up with a woman, then and one of them is going to get shot, the other one has to, be a love interest, I guess.
And this one also features an actor mysteriously losing his terrible accent, and that's with John Pankow, who played Italo Bianchi.
What is his accent at any given point?
At any given fucking moment? It's like he goes from sounding like he's from fucking Italy to sounding like, well, poorly. His Italian accent is fucking awful. To sounding like he's from fucking Jersey. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it is completely and utterly bizarre.
It's all over the place and terrible.
And Frankenheimer should be a cocking shamed of himself.
This is the movie
It's directed by John Frankenheimer.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
I thought his worst film was Island of Dr. Moreau before I saw this.
Island of Dr. Moreau was a fucking masterpiece compared to this.
It really is compared to this. I couldn't believe it. Kim and I sat there watching this, and we could not believe this was the hardest we had to. And I have to say, if my relationship with Kim has any any evidence of it lasting, is that she sat through this movie just so that we could record this New Year's Eve show.
Did you immediately put your coat on and go, I'll just go?
I'll leave. I'll just leave. I did. I packed my bags.
This relationship is clearly over. I'm gonna go sleep on the stoop.
Yeah, right, exactly. She's a much stronger woman and made of stronger and tougher stuff, clearly, because she sat through this with me. But yeah, boy was it tricky and difficult, especially like you say, without the subtitles.
Yeah,
that was
a little tough.
Yeah, the number of times I almost turned this off, just went,
But
I'm going to wing it.
But the fun part about that is when you have something with no subtitles, you just make up your own dialogue.
It took me 3 days to finish this movie.
Whoa.
We powered through it in one night, I think.
Oh no! Oh god! Because when I first encountered a lot of Italian, I kind of thought, oh well, maybe this is just incidental; it doesn't matter. But then they started having conversations with the main characters in Italian, so I shut it off then, and I'm I'll find English subtitles for it. Big surprise, couldn't find any English subtitles for this really well-known 1991, American classic. But then I just gave up on it that night, and then I finished it up the following night. I'm just like, oh god. And I was watching it at work, and it was a really slow night, and this just made it so much slower.
I seriously wish that instead of watching this, we had watched Kansas with Matt Dillon and Andrew McCarthy. I wish we'd gone for that, but sadly we didn't. So then,
should have done what I did then.
What was that? Not watch it at
Not
all.
watch it.
Not watch it at all. Or we could have watched Fresh Horses, which has Molly Ringwald and Andrew McCarthy reunited.
And it feels so good.
Yeah. A Cincinnati college student breaks off his engagement to his wealthy fiancée after he falls in love with a backwoods Kentucky girl he meets at a party. She claims to be 20 years old, but he learns that she's actually just 16 and already married. Wow. We really should have watched that.
We missed out on that one.
So yeah, missing Fresh Horses and Kansas, two lesser-known titles of the Brat Pack era. We went then straight to one of the better well-known, yet mightily depressing titles in the Backpack era, and also possibly one of the most honest, because it's probably what dealing with Robert Downey Jr. was like in real life.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
The McCarthy, Downey Jr., James Spader, and is it Jamie Gertz? It's Jamie Gertz, starring Less Than Zero.
Oof.
So why don't you give us...
When she was in Lost Boys?
Lost Boys. Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us the plot summary to this, Doc?
Not really.
Okay.
At least he's being honest.
So far, none of the McCarthy movies have ranked higher than a 6.3 on IMDb. I'm just putting that out there.
I think the soundtrack was more popular for this movie than anything else.
Yeah, I think
it's so funny, when I would talk to people about this one, because this one I had to talk to people about because it was so fucking depressing. They had to talk me off the ledge. And every time I talk to somebody, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I remember the soundtrack for that." Nobody remembers the fucking.
Yeah, especially that they played that Bangles song to death after this film.
James Spader in this movie playing a long series of Brat Pack douchebag roles, which he's played throughout the 80s. It was, if you needed a greasy, slimy douchebag, call on Spader.
But he did it so well.
He was fucking so
perfect.
Well.
He's so good in it. He's probably my favorite thing about this movie. He's just such a douche. It's great.
Yeah,
I think you're forgetting the fact that Andrew McCarthy gets a hand job while driving.
Oh, he does get a hand job while driving. But I love the fact that James Spader says on multiple occasions in this film, do you even realize who you're talking to?
That's a really good James Spader, what you just did. That's a really good impression.
You're just waiting for somebody to lay him out, and he finally does, too. So.
Yeah, but your voice there, Mo, you sounded just like...
Oh, see, I wasn't even trying. Maybe
Do that again. Do that again.
Do you even realize who you're talking to?
That's a really good James Spader.
It's like he's on the podcast.
On the phone. On the show.
You know what it is? It's because I'm just channeling my inner dirtbag.
Yeah, in a filthmonger, in a greasy sleaze. And in fact, it's going to be one of many greasy sleazes that Spader will play in the next few movies we talk about.
Has James Spader ever come into your work, Mo? Because he does seem like he's the sort of person who would...
Yeah, he has. He comes in nightly.
That's Keira Knightley. He comes in Keira Knightley.
I wish.
He comes in Kieran McCulkin, but... he's a regular user of our ventilation holes.
So, your little dry your dick off pouches.
Yeah.
stick your Todger in there, and a little
little
Asian man wipes it off with a Clorox wipe.
He brings in his own packet of wet ones.
Lemon scented.
Because he likes the flavor.
He likes a citrus cock, does Spader.
Good Lord.
So, Less Than Zero tells the story of Robert Downey Jr.'s massive drug habit.
It tells the true life story of Robert Downey Jr.
And what's incredible is he seems to develop this drug habit in about 4 months, because they end high school, it goes 6 months later, they come back, and apparently he's had time in 6 months to not only meet every LA lowlife, like sleazebag, drug peddler, and gay porn merchant, but also has managed to get himself hooked on absolutely every form of Class A narcotic.
He's like, give me that crack.
And fuck Andrew McCarthy's girlfriend. So he's really been busy in 6 months. For someone who accomplishes nothing, he's really been busy.
Yeah, and manages to rack up, in 6 months, he manages to rack up, that we know about, $50,000 in debt.
Yeah. He just keeps borrowing money off Spader, who doesn't, considering that when Spader later on in the movie throws a get-together for his sort of rent boy crowd, his gay prostitute crowd, it looks like it's at the cheapest motel in the world. How James Spader has 50 grand to throw around, I've no idea.
Well, I think it's 50 grand in product.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's mightily depressing. It's
majorly
the one
depressing at times too.
It's one movie where Robert Downey Jr. gets to blow a guy for crack, and, or blow someone's crack for crack.
I was having a really, really tough emotional night when I watched this to begin with, and I had never seen this before. And in fact, I didn't even know anything. I didn't know anything about it. So when I finished this movie, I was at work when I watched it, and I'm literally just like fighting back like the depression tears, because this fucking movie was just destroyed me.
Yeah. So Mo's right about it too, but especially when you watch it for the first time, you have a hard time going back watching it the second time.
Yeah, it's tough because Mo's life is pathetic. No, I'm just kidding. It was a really, really hard movie to watch.
So am I the only one who found it funny?
No, there's a lot of funny moments, unintentional.
Jamie Gertz, still a good-looking woman.
Yeah.
I wish she had thicker legs, though. She has the weirdest, skinniest fucking legs I've ever seen.
This was from the creative, imaginative mind of the same guy who gave us American Psycho.
Yeah, Bret Easton Ellis wrote the novel that this was based on.
It's apparently very different to the book, isn't it?
Why? It's not Robert Downey Jr. for starters.
Did you guys ever read the book? I didn't.
I can't read.
No, I've never read anything.
I was too busy reading condom wrappers.
The writer of this, Harley Payton, wrote on Twin Peaks Series 2, and then went on to write Heaven's Prisoners, Bandits,
and Five Will Goes West.
Dracula. No, Doc, not Five Will Goes West. Dracula, the TV series with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, and Friends with Benefits. He wrote the story for it. How do you write the story for Friends with Benefits? It's about friends with benefits.
Story written.
There's your story, Harley. I'm going to cut you another check. Well, this is kind of like the prequel to Friends with Benefits. Do you know what I mean? It's like the depressing Friends with Benefits. It's like the Friends with Benefits
debts.
and drug debts. Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been there.
We've all been there. Let's ask the question.
I've never had benefits, no.
If our three panelists today, Mo, Matt, and Andrew McCarthy, were going to be cast... Mo, Matt, and Doc were going to be cast as either Andrew McCarthy, James Spader, and Robert Downey Jr. Who would we cast as who?
I'd be Robert Downey Jr.
Would you indeed? Okay.
Yeah.
And Matt, would you be? Would you be True Blue McCarthy?
Oh, yeah, definitely, because there's no way in hell I could fill James Spader's shoes.
Doc would be Jamie Gertz.
And I would be James Spader.
Oh, just wait.
Paul's getting
I've
way
got
out
to give
right now.
Matt a hand job.
Yeah, and you've got better legs.
But I've got to force Mo to blow a guy in my seedy hotel.
And hence why I would be Julian.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you mean force?
Yeah, you would, honestly, you just have to ask me politely.
Ask you politely.
Just do it a little lighter tone. Just do Less Than Zero, the musical.
Yeah, all you really have to do is be like, "Hey, buddy, you want to give me a hand over here?" I'd be like, "Ah, sure, no problem."
Is it?
So before
It's got
we
a
go,
substance. I'll have it.
I'll have it. We'll go before we go through Mannequin, Pretty in Pink, St.Elmo'S Fire, and Class, which we'll have to do pretty quickly. But before we do that, just let's go around the table for points for Less Than Zero. I actually, because it's so depressing to me, and it wasn't one that I'd seen a lot, and it doesn't have enough James Spader in it.
It really doesn't.
Love it. It's a 2.5 for me, probably lowest so far yet. What about you, Doc?
Yeah, same as you actually, dude. 2.5.
Matt?
I give it a 2.
Mo?
I'm going to give it Less Than Zero. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, clever.
See what I did there? See what I did?
It did.
No, I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, like, there's depressing good and depressing bad, and I thought this was, despite the fact that it's fucking depressing as it was, I really enjoyed it. I'll give it a 4.
Wow.
Hey.
Wow.
I really liked it. It's depressing as shit, but I liked it.
Okay, excellent. And
Let me
with
ask-
that,
let
I'm
me
going to
ask-
take...
Let me ask Mo real quick. Will you go back and watch it again soon?
Never in a million years.
Okay.
Fair enough. So now we're going on to 1987's Mannequin, which I have to say, for my money, the best person in this movie is James Spader, hands down.
He plays sniveling so well.
He is playing it like a Monty Python character in this movie.
It is so over the top.
And above and beyond, has to have what is probably the greasiest hair in any movie ever.
Yes, and even when he's chasing McCarthy later on in the movie, you see him lick his fingers and slick his hair even further over.
Yeah,
which was
it's the little shit like that, like how he's running through a chase scene, but he's still so worried about his hair being plastered to his head.
It's tremendous.
It's fucking brilliant. He's so good in this.
Spader in Mannequin is possibly one
This
of
is
my
quickly
favorite
turning
things
into a
to-
James Spader retrospective, isn't it?
Yeah, which is possibly what we should have done.
Yeah,
All along.
John's right. I mean, whenever he's in the scenes, I mean, he steals all the scenes that he's in.
I mean, G.W. Bailey is just playing G.W. Bailey.
Yeah,
in-
he's just doing another version of his
Police
character,
Academy.
Police Academy, exactly. Although he's
Nothing wrong with that.
and there isn't anything wrong with that. I love the recurring gag of his dog being terrified, and then he gets another dog who's even bigger and tougher looking, and that dog's terrified too. It's the dog gags are great.
And I love the fact that his first dog is called Rambo and his second dog is called
Terminator.
Terminator. And of course, you must love it, Mo, as a Golden Girl fan, that Estelle Getty.
Yeah,
is,
absolutely,
in this movie.
absolutely. And because I had forgotten she was even in this, so when I saw,
And it's a young, fit Estelle Getty
which
as
is
well.
which is
He
hilarious.
never lost the sex appeal, John.
not a chance. No, but it's great too because she actually filmed this at the same time that Golden Girls was going on. So it's pretty great to see her the exact opposite of her Sophia character. You know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Not that Sophia was any less attractive.
Or spunky.
It's totally spun.
She was no prude.
No.
So Matt, do you want the opportunity to synopsize Mannequin for everybody listening?
Oh, well, so basically, no, not really.
Doc, do you want to go?
Yeah, Kim Cattrall
Oh,
gets punished, and she gets sentenced to be a mannequin in New York somewhere. Andrew McCarthy has got a weird fetish for dolls. Starts working in a store where Kim Cattrall is, and
And she only, she only comes alive whenever it's just him and her. Nobody else can figure that way.
So
Yeah.
far, Doc, that's almost entirely incorrect.
I was going to say it's actually really wrong.
I thought she was.
No, she is banished from Egypt.
Oh, see, I was right about that.
But it's revealed throughout the movie that she's able to travel through time. She's not a mannequin all the time.
Oh, I know
she
that.
just chooses to be a mannequin in order to meet Andrew McCarthy, who is a
What a
sculptor.
load of bollocks. This film loses it by the... Why would you just want to meet Andrew McCarthy?
Wouldn't you want to meet Andrew McCarthy?
No, because James Spader's in the film and he's far more kinky.
It's true. It's true. She could have had a lot more fun.
But no.
He's got way better coke.
And he's got Robert Downey Jr. on speed dial.
And on dialing for speed. And Andrew McCarthy basically plays a sculptor who tries to insert his art into every job he gets and gets
something.
fired.
Is that a euphemism?
Basically, he tries to fuck a pizza, and he tries to.
He fucks a shrubbery.
He fucks a shrubbery. He fucks a pizza. He fucks a restaurant so much that apparently it sets fire.
Yep.
But he also at the beginning he's working in a mannequin warehouse. And he builds the mannequin that Kim Cattrall would become. And based on the idea that she is like a muse to him.
It's weird that this is based on a true story. Does anybody else think that? I don't.
It's basically like a retelling of the muse idea from like Greek mythology.
Yeah,
But
I remember. Well, it's funny that it's Greek because I remember Meshach Taylor from Greek mythology as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But eventually, through some convoluted situation, he saves Estelle Getty from a wonky sign.
Yeah.
She makes him she gives him a job in her very plush and large
And failing.
department store that is
Vagina.
failing.
Yeah.
And it's failing on purpose because James Spader, as the slimy Richards, is in cahoots with the upmarket and fancy department store of, what is it? What's it called? The other department store?
Illustra.
Illustra, that's it.
It's all...
And he is trying to
Very
get
80s
this.
name.
Yeah, he's trying to get this building like basically torn down and rebuilt as another Illustra, which he will then run. Sadly for him, Estelle Getty's battle axe of an old lady and Andrew McCarthy and Kim Cattrall's combined 80s art sensibilities saves the store, and hilarity and high gay stereotypes ensue.
You know, stereotypes, yes, but they're stereotypes for a reason because they're not that far off.
No, what they do, and what I'm talking about is Meshach Taylor playing Hollywood, who is a highly
No.
no, he got more pussy on set than anybody else.
Yeah, he fucked Estelle Getty.
I would.
Nobody
pussy.
goes near Estelle Getty's snatch except Spader. You know that.
See, that's my only thing with the film. I'd have swapped the roles with Kim Cattrall and Estelle Getty.
That's what that would have made it even hotter. But no, the nice thing they do with Meshach Taylor's character is that, yeah, it starts out as a very like overblown, effeminate comedic role that could, in almost any other movie, veer into you're laughing at him because he's a big, effeminate, stereotype gay guy.
Right.
But because you have G.W. Bailey be a bigot towards him, and then Andrew McCarthy call him out as a bigot, and then because Hollywood's character goes on to be one of the success stories of the movie, and because McCarthy remains friends with him, and so on and so forth, actually, I think, for all its overblown fairiness of it, it's actually quite an empowering
No, I agree. I agree with you entirely. I think it's very empowering.
Progressive.
Because like it's it's early on, it's 87, so it's
And gays weren't actually created till 85.
no, I just mean in any other movie this character would have been subject to ridicule or would have done some sort of thing where by the end of it had been like straightened up a little bit or butched up a little bit. You know what I mean? But Andrew McCarthy accepts him from the first bit of the movie all the way through to the end. He's one of the heroes. He's one of the success stories. He marries Kim Cattrall and Andrew McCarthy at the end as the whatever you call it, not the priest, but like the
justice of the peace.
Justice of the peace, the officiator of the wedding. So yeah, it's I think it's a charming story of art versus commerce. And Spader's slick, sleazy ways versus Andrew McCarthy's twatting about.
And also one of the great songs of the 80s by Starship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they still play it to this day, too.
Oh.
Matt, how many times have you played it since we started this podcast?
I've been listening to it on a loop.
Yeah, it's still playing, actually. Actually, you can hear it.
It's my favourite blowjob song.
Oh my!
I can't suck anything without listening to that song.
So, Matt, your opinions on Mannequin, sir?
It's a fun movie. I saw it quite a few times on cable and everything. I remembered it so well, and it's even watching it again, it's still a lot of fun. My favorite thing, McCarthy's great in it, and I think, if I remember correctly, I think this was the first thing I saw Kim Cattrall in, because I saw this before Big Trouble. So.
Right. And what about Split Second? Did you see this before Split Second as well?
The sequel?
No, the Split Second, the Rutger Hauer Kim Cattrall movie where he's fighting aliens in a waterlogged London.
Come on, mate, you see tits in it.
Wow.
You almost see her breasts in this. But I would say it's up there with Kim Cattrall's greatest performances, which is Split Second, Big Trouble in Little China, and of course Police Academy.
I miss hot Kim Cattrall.
I miss 80s Kim Cattrall. That's what I really miss.
I don't like the Sex and the City stuff. She was so much hotter before.
I miss her and Ray Liotta and Linda Fiorentino in the unforgettable movie Unforgettable.
I seem to have forgotten about that one.
Everyone has forgotten about that.
So yeah.
But Mo, what does your feel on Mannequin?
I think it's great. I love Hollywood. I loved every second he was on the film, on the screen. He has one of my favorite lines in the movie where he's spraying the guys down with the hose. And he goes, two things I love to do, fight and kiss boys. I just thought it was a great fucking line. But yeah, I really enjoy Mannequin. I was surprised that I enjoyed it as much this time around again as I always kind of have, because you think it's a movie I haven't seen in maybe 20 years, and I've never given it another thought since the last time I watched it. So
I forgot another classic Kim Cattrall film, of course, is Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
6. Sorry, Star Trek 6.
I was about to correct you, but yes.
Star Trek 6.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Spader is just fucking amazing in this. McCarthy gives, with the exception of the copious montage scenes in this, gives a pretty great performance. Kim Cattrall's good. It's an overall great movie. It's a lot of fun.
Doc, your thing about Kim Cattrall. Mannequin.
They're pretty. No, it's a good film. It's a great 80s romantic comedy. At that time, you have to have a good song with it. And it does that. Andrew McCarthy's good in it. James Spader's a fetishist twat again, as usual. It's all good. It's all good. I give it a solid 4 out of 5.
What do you think James Spader's main sexual fetish would be as this character Richards?
Rimming Estelgetta. while being pleasured by
G.W.
Hollywood.
Bailey's dog. No, G.W. Bailey's dog Rambo.
Let's just say it involves a lot of peanut butter and his asshole.
And that wonderful underbite.
And Hollywood.
And that wonderful underbite that Rambo the dog has. He slowly places his balls on top of the underbite.
G.W. Bailey's just in the background screaming, "Get him, Rambo!"
Oh dear, G.W. Bailey, the guy that the 80s forgot. But no, I have to say, of all the McCarthy comedies, this is by far my favorite. I'm a bit like you, Mo. I had not seen this movie probably 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
I did not expect to unadulteratedly enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah,
I
just
absolutely enjoyed it.
Just
yeah.
an absolute blast to watch.
And
It's
like
not
I
offensive,
said,
is it? It's not offensive. You can just watch it. Watch it. You know,
Yeah.
that's the best thing about it. The fact that you can walk away from it, really enjoy it, not really remember it, but come back and it's a fun time to come back to.
I mean, the worst thing about it probably is that rock song montage. It probably is the worst thing about it. What's even funnier, what actually saves the rock montage, is in the ending credits. It's like musical section choreographed by, and I'm like, someone choreographed that. Like someone went, you dress up as this guy, and you dress up as this chick, and you just walk. Okay, full points to McCarthy doing the Phantom of the Opera organ playing with full gusto. Like full points to that. I thought that was awesome.
He should have been getting a blowjob while he was doing that, though.
Also, a tremendous bike car chase with the car getting stuck halfway up a narrow alleyway. I thought that was genuinely well done.
It was really, really cool, yeah.
I thought it was very cool. Oh, as I also thought the swapping back between Mannequin and Human that happens in the movie was done very well, I thought. But beyond that...
Well, yeah, because there's even that one scene where you see her start to come alive, and it's clearly like she's wearing a glove sort of thing, you know, like a fleshy mannequin kind of glove. And I'm like, oh, that's really neat. It was like such a great way to...
What would happen? Right. Carry on, Mo.
I was just gonna say it was a great way to convey the mannequin coming to life. They did a really great job with that. Continue with the joke you're obviously about to make.
No, I was going to say what would happen, right, if he was taking her from behind and somebody walked in?
you know, not gonna lie, when I said that, when I say that I think. I thought about that while I was watching.
Long and hard.
I was long and hard when I was thinking about it.
And it closed up on him. How would he explain that? Is that a deleted scene on the Blu-ray that's going to come out?
Oh, Christ.
That is tremendous.
I'm just thinking about it again.
Yeah. It is quite incredible that at a certain point in this movie, because the shop is now being successful again, everyone perfectly accepts the fact that he keeps sneaking away into quiet rooms with a mannequin.
Yeah.
And no one says anything. In fact, if anything, they're kind of happy about it.
Yeah, they're like applauding it.
Yeah.
They're applauding what could be his sexual deviancy.
Must have been kind of funny for the parents to explain to the kids because this was a PG movie.
Yeah, right. Daddy, what's he doing in that room with the mannequin?
Yeah, right.
He's getting a blowy, son.
Yeah, but there we go. That's incredible. I thought Mannequin was probably my favorite movie to watch of all the ones that I rediscovered of McCarthy's.
Yeah.
Me too.
It's the one that depressed me the least.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So now then, I give it a 5 out of 5, I think. If I'm going to give Weekend at Bernie's 4 out of 5, I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 on the McCarthy scale. It would be the one I would suggest people go see. I enjoy it a lot. So now we have Pretty in Pink, where he plays the unlikely named Blaine McDonough. And in fact, we have a comment on the Facebook, which I'm just going to bring up in a minute, which someone sort of says what I feel about Andrew McCarthy.
Sexy as fuck,
especially.
But while he's doing that, I'm also going to just double up on what John said about Mannequin. I'll also give it a 5 out of 5.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So that's out of 20. That is. What did you rate it, Matt?
Matt, what did you rate it, dude?
What would I give it 4?
So I give it a 4. It's 18 out of 20.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's better than Shawshank on IMDb.
So then I forget where I saw the comment about him on this, but basically someone's saying, I never saw the appeal of him. I always thought he was a bit of a yuppie prick, and I think that in Pretty in Pink.
I think that was the appeal.
I think that was Andrew McCarthy's mum who commented on it.
It was. But a couple of comments on Pretty in Pink. Courtney Ray said Pretty in Pink is the best movie ever. So that's apparently her 2 cents about it.
So she'd give it a 5 then.
She'd give it more than a 5.
She'd give it a blowy behind a dumpster.
Yes, indeed. Where? Here we go. CJ Jonesy asks, can Andrew McCarthy build his dreams together? And if so, will anything stop him now? Doug Fry asked, how the fuck did Weekend at Bernie's warrant a sequel? I think that's obvious because Weekend at Bernie's 1 was so amazing. Bryce Katzman says, was he really the every kid man we regular slobs were supposed to relate to? I always thought he was just one of your typical good-looking rich yuppie kids, but with a little less confidence. What say you?
I was one of those yuppie kids with less self-confidence.
And
I also like to fuck mannequins.
So now I'm picturing Doc in a pair of like chinos and a pastel button-up.
That was me at college.
It's not a bad, in my mind,
it's movie right there. Yeah,
not a bad look on you.
No, it's quite good. And I played bongos.
Oh man.
That was some of the comments we had about Andrew McCarthy. We didn't get that many comments. Tim Gross says, where is Weekend at Bernie's 3? I'd like that as well, Tim. If it's only going to get better, then I think Weekend at Bernie's 3.
If you can spare a fucking dollar, Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman will make that.
They'd fight over the dollar.
They'll split it. They happily split that dollar.
They'll fight over the dollar in a pit of Jell-O while wearing gladiator uniforms.
Wow.
For our entertainment. And he also says, and has Andrew ever done a horror film that horror fans would know? The only one I could find on his thing was the one I mentioned, Camp Hell.
It wasn't in like a horror TV show in a hospital.
Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt. He did an episode of that, but everyone did an episode of that.
No, I thought he did like a TV series from like a Stephen King.
Oh, Kingdom Hospital.
Kingdom Hospital. Yeah. What was that? Was that horror?
Was a TV series by Stephen King.
Oh, that was right then.
Yeah. But no, he was also in The Twilight Zone, the new series in 2003. And he was also in Diggity's Treasure, and that's fucking horrible. And
he was in Year of the Gun.
He was in Year of the Gun.
Kingdom Hospital was directed by Craig R. Baxley.
Oh, wow. A-Team stalwart Craig R. Baxley.
Dark Angel. Oh, it was written by Lars von Trier, so forget that straight off the bat. Prick.
Could we ever envisage a reunion movie with the other cast members of St.Elmo'S Fire?
Yeah, St.Elmo'S Fire 2.
Reunion movie? That'd be interesting.
Yeah. The wedding, like American Pie.
Never mention that around Mo.
I know he loves those films. That's why he said it.
He will find you and kill you.
Go fuck yourself, Doc.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm glad I've got your permission. I'm going to go off now.
Andrew McCarthy has directed 9 episodes of Orange is the New Black. Because he loves prison lesbians.
Yeah, I'm been scheduled to direct 4 of the next season.
Oh, good.
I can't direct for shit, but no lesbians.
Lesbians. Can't direct for shit, but if anybody, know lesbians. Pretty in Pink then. To be honest, while there are some lovely John Hughes-esque moments in, you do have I think a great performance by
John Cryer,
Molly Ringwald,
Harry Dean Stanton. I think it's a good film.
It is a good film, but I think that like John Cryer has the chops to act it, but the script is not there. Like Ducky comes off as way too annoying.
Yeah.
For it to be like if he
should have come off as more endearing.
Yeah, tune it down, Cryer, for fuck's sake.
There are some bits in it where he has lines that are kind of Chevy Chase-esque. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of quippy asides. And I think if it had been played if it had been played like nerdy cool as opposed to like nerdy awful, it would have been a bit better. And there's some bits in the movie when I really like Ducky, and there are other bits where I'm like, God, get him out of this fucking movie.
Well, I mean, like the whole unrequited love thing is a little tough to play, but I think he comes off as too desperate.
Well, yeah, it's not the unrequited love stuff that I have a problem with. It's just his attempts at humor wildly fail or wildly succeed, and they're never on the nose when they need to be.
Right.
And it does kind of spoil the movie for me to some extent.
It's very lifelike. I mean, you know.
What, for a mannequin?
No. In film world, she'd go off with Ducky at the end.
Right.
In film world. In real world, she'd go off with a smug dickhead.
Yeah, and that's my other problem.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is, right, I relate to Ducky. Yeah.
The other problem with the movie, weirdly enough, again, is Andrew McCarthy, because to me, you would have understood more why he liked her. I understand why we're the audience are meant to like her. She's artistic, she's headstrong, she's into stuff, she's creative, she's intelligent, she's
ginger,
old beyond her years, and she's a hottie redhead.
But a ginger bush.
Yeah. And her dad is Harry Dean Stanton. So that's like, we understand why we like her, but there's no real effort or there's no real understanding like why McCarthy does.
No, it comes off as just another rich kid who wants something and goes out and gets it.
Which is the only reason Spader's role is in the movie, because he's the guy who represents the rich kid who just wanted Andy Walsh, which is Molly Ringwald's character, but then gets turned down and then sort of resents her the rest of the movie. Andrew McCarthy just feels like the next in line of those douchebags who are going to try and hit on her. There's no attempt, for example, if the movie was more about like, here's a rich guy, he's pigeonholed by his friends and his expectations and all the rest of it. But really, he's into music or he's into
fisting
later. Fashion or whatever it is, like that would be one thing. But as it is, I understand. Like John Hughes tries to kind of do a, one kid from the wrong side of the tracks, one kid from the right side of the tracks, kind of storyline, and it sort of works and sort of doesn't. And if it wasn't for Molly Ringwald and her command of the character and the dialogue, this film wouldn't work.
A lot of people consider it to be her best film.
Yeah, she's tremendous in it, and I think she conveys everything that John Hughes intended from the script. Whereas I feel like McCarthy, Cryer don't really in the same way. Cryer does, like I say, 50% of the time. And McCarthy is just this sort of bland cipher that, while it's nice that he sticks up for her at the house party, where Spader is, of course, sleazing around in just his shorts and an open shirt. Like, at no point does Spader's shirt, is it buttoned above the tits? Like, his shirt is constantly unbuttoned, showing off his wispy ginger chest hair.
Lucky bastard. I always aspired to be that.
Yeah.
I even bought red hair dye.
Yeah.
That he only put on his chest.
Yeah. And my balls.
And my balls. Which is, no, it makes sense because that's where your longest hair is. So
of course. Longest hair, as in hair.
Yes, it's also singular.
It's also because back in the day, it was fine if you were teabagging someone to have like the black hair, but now tea has become such a hipster thing that you need a ginger tea or a plum tea or something like that. You need tea bags.
Grey boy.
Yeah, old grey boy.
Got a hairy grey ball bag.
You don't want that bouncing about on your chin.
His balls are like a piquant rooibos tea.
But anyway, so
They smell a lot like him too.
my opinion is that I think Pretty in Pink does work, but it's like a...
It's a time capsule of the 80s. It's what
It's
it
definitely
is.
a time capsule of the 80s, but I think it's like one rewrite and a slightly more assertive director, and you could have got a great movie. And whereas I just think it's a good one.
Yeah, a lot of people consider this to be John Hughes is one of John Hughes' best next to Ferris Bueller.
Which is
Whereas you
I
see,
prefer this to the Breakfast Club.
which is funny because I fucking hate Ferris Bueller, because Ferris Bueller is another character that I cannot fucking stand.
Yes,
I
I
cannot
wouldn't-
abide him.
I wouldn't compare the two. No, I think this is way better than Ferris Bueller.
Because I find
Absolutely.
both the character that Broderick plays and the character that Cryer plays as Ferris Bueller and Ducky, who are meant to be like the funny, witty, wild kids we all want to be, I find them both absolutely awful.
I want to be Harry Dean Stanton watching Pretty in
Of
Pink.
course.
Is that weird?
Yeah, I always wanted to be Harry Dean Stanton. The only thing that drives me nuts about John Hughes, and it happens in The Breakfast Club and it happens in this movie. At the end of The Breakfast Club, he takes the incredibly attractive Ali Sheedy and turns it into just another porcelain doll-looking, standard teenager. It's kind of awful.
It is pretty awful.
And then he takes that awesome 50s dress that Annie Potts wears in that great scene.
And turns it into a fucking garbage bag. What the fuck?
What is that dress she makes?
It's
at the
the
end of
ugliest
movie?
fucking thing I've ever seen. Not like I'm some kind of fashion maven or anything like that. But I mean, for fuck's sake, that dress that Annie Potts had was drop dead fucking gorgeous and would have looked amazing on Molly Ringwald, and she just hacked it up. First off, without permission.
Yes.
At no point does she say to Iona, Annie Potts' character, "Oh, by the way, can I borrow that dress? I'm going to cut the shit out of it."
Not only that, but Harry Dean Stanton, who doesn't have a job and doesn't want a job,
Yeah.
who can blame him? It's a full-time job putting up with Molly Ringwald shit. But not only that, but he goes out of his way to use savings to buy her yet another lovely dress, and she ruins both of them.
Just ruins them.
Just ruins them.
And the
like
director's called
Spader ruins assholes.
She makes a fucking sack out of it.
Yeah, like Spader ruins anuses.
Oh, he ruined mine not too long ago.
It's because every time you watch one of his movies, you have to sit on a spike.
Well, I do that anyway. Watching his movies just helps.
Just helps, yeah.
It's like 3D.
So other people talk about this movie. Matt, go ahead.
I'm not as into it as a lot of other people are, but it does have some funny moments, and like I said, McCarthy's really good in it. And I'd go ahead and I'd give this a 3.
And Doc?
I think it's a great film in the 80s. Like I say, it's more realistic than it's certainly more realistic than films nowadays where, the lovable loser gets the girls. Now, in that film, the lovable loser doesn't. Andrew McCarthy.
No, but he does walk away with Kirsty Swanson.
He really does.
He walks away with the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, but...
I think he might actually.
All right, yeah, you're right. He wins.
Yeah, I was gonna say he might win in this situation.
He really does win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
actually,
there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk from people, specifically about 16 Candles. Listen to me, Pretty in Pink, where a lot of people think she should have ended up with Ducky at the end, and I don't think so.
No, she should have ended up with Long Duck Dong.
She should have ended up with fucking Steph.
you know what? She probably ended up getting date raped by Spader and McCarthy.
Right?
And she should have
Exactly.
gone Ducky.
They should have gone. They could have gone Family Style on her.
Yeah, so fuck it. 4 out of 5.
I think probably after they kiss outside the car at the end of the movie, Andrew McCarthy drives her back to Spader's love mansion,
You've been
and he
fucking
says,
fooled, Ringwald.
he says the joke is on you, and they just strap her up in a sex dungeon, and Spader and McCarthy just spend weeks defiling her.
Yeah, then all the teenagers in the audience are like, oh my god, that got dark so quickly.
I might have to stop this podcast and imagine that for just a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been doing this whole time.
Okay, so let's. So I give. What did I give Pretty in Pink? I give Pretty in Pink probably a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a 4 out of 5 just for Molly Ringwald's lip biting. But other than that, yeah, it's.
And Doc, what did you give it?
4. I gave it 4, same as Mo.
All right. So now on to St. Elmo's Fire. So let's just quickly do St. Elmo's Fire and just go around and everyone say what they like about it. Mo, you start.
All right. I mean, as far as St. Elmo's Fire is concerned, this is the one where I can relate probably the most to McCarthy's character.
Yes.
Because I a lot of the times feel like what's his name in this? Kevin. I can relate to Kevin quite a bit. In this one, I mean, as far as movies are concerned, it's too all over the place. There's too many fucking characters, and there's too many jumping around between storylines. So it's like none of the storylines even really feel fully resolved, and I feel that the ending is complete and utter bullshit. That's not how it would have happened. Where Ali Sheedy would have fucked both of these guys, or I don't even think she fucks Alec. But how she would have just been like, oh, I think I just need some me time. And both of the two guys are like, okay, we'll all be friends now. That's not the real fucking world, and fucking Jules goes from being a huge fucking cokehead to being like, I'm all better now. I feel of the McCarthy quote unquote greats. I think this is probably the lesser of them, because I really feel it's horribly unrealistic. With the exception, I mean, and even fucking Rob Lowe's character with Billy, he's like, well, I'm going to make myself a better person, but in the process of making himself a better person, he abandons his entire family.
True.
So it's like, I feel like every character in this film is a bit of a scumbag. And so at the end of the movie, I kind of don't really like any of them.
But I do want to see Judd Nelson and
Sheedy Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean,
No, I was going to say I do want to see Nelson and McCarthy double team Sheedy.
yeah.
That's really what I want to see.
Golden
Yeah,
Girl.
I thought the same thing about
Most
Die
of that-
Hard.
Yeah, Mo's right too about a lot of the characters in this movie, but McCarthy's character especially, because he's just like hating life left and right and everything, and he has that famous line, love sucks.
Love is an illusion.
Love is an illusion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and most of everything, pretty much how I feel about the film as well. I mean, it's good. It's not great. I wouldn't put it up there with the top ones, but he's right. It's very cliched, and a lot of these characters are very unlikable. But and once they hammer that theme song into
not a lot of the characters. All of the characters are unlikable.
yeah, and once
I
you
don't know.
hear that,
I think Emilio Estevez is a lovable
and
little
once-
cheeky-faced.
once you get that ending theme song into your head, you're not getting rid of it.
But
I
it's,
love Man in Motion.
But that's the thing though. Even talking about Emilio Estevez's character, it's like everything's so goddamn like it wraps up so cleanly at the end. So he kisses Andy McDowell once, and all of a sudden he's like, "Now I'm great." You know, fuck you. That is not how any of this shit works. It's just not how it works. He would end up kissing her. She'd think about it for 5 seconds, and then go back and fuck the stud who she's got in the fucking ski cabin. Please.
See, whereas weirdly, I actually I like St.Elmo'S Fire. I agree with all your points, but I actually really, really like St.Elmo'S Fire. It's long been
the movie, but
it's long been with The Breakfast Club. It's long been like one of my favorite Brat Pack movies of all time. It's certainly the one in which most Brat Pack people appear. And it's the one that famously appeared on the front of the New Yorker, where the term the Brat Pack was first coined.
yeah, I was going to say this is the movie that gave us the term Brat Pack.
Right.
Yeah, because they came out around the same time. So
Also, who doesn't love the idea of a sweaty Rob Lowe shaking his greased hair all over you and then making out with you while fake miming a saxophone playing? Who doesn't love that?
Girls in that video.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed Rob Lowe's character probably the most. You know, but my problems, all of my problems with this movie stem from the end. It's just horribly unrealistic.
Have you seen the unofficial post-credit sequence, which is the Man in Motion music video with John Parr?
I haven't, no.
Where the entire cast of St. Elmo's Fire are apparently in a burnt-out basement, living like paupers, and are saved only from their plight by John Parr's massively permed mullet and Canadian tuxedo.
wow, John just found a sequel for the movie.
That's actually what happens. And they're all in it, and they all smile and nod at him as he walks past singing the song, which is hilarious because the song Man in Motion wasn't written about anything in St. Elmo's Fire at all. It was actually written by David Foster and John Parr for the Canadian athlete Rick Hansen, who at the time was going around the world in his wheelchair to raise awareness for spinal cord injuries. And the journey was called the Man in Motion Tour. So Parr wrote a song about this Canadian athlete, stuck in one small reference to the flame still burning in St. Elmo's Fire, whatever it is. And that became the theme song of this movie, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with anything that's in this movie. And the music video does at no point feature the Canadian athlete, but does, as I say, feature the cast of this movie in a burnt-out basement, being sung at by Parr's hair
That's
and
nice.
denim jacket.
Go to, like, this is this song that was going to be for this intrepid bloke who's faced odds.
Yeah,
And
spinal cord injuries.
And then Hollywood comes calling and goes, "Well, we used it for St. Elmo's Fire," and he's like, "Fuck you, more money over here."
Yeah, more money over here. I'm going to do that. So next time you listen to it, realise that a poor guy in a wheelchair got gypped out of millions.
He's probably dead now. And it's your fault for watching that film.
Never listen to the
Him
song
and
the
his
same way
shitty
again.
spinal cord. What? What did you say, Matt?
I said you'll never listen to that song the same way again.
No, you never will. But it's
I wouldn't say that. I've just downloaded it now you've told me that story.
well, because you want to wank off to it. But despite the negativity surrounding this movie,
I changed that over from Starship right now.
yeah, And despite everything you're saying being completely and utterly true, because the characters in this movie are pretty awful.
Yeah.
And you know there are multiple reasons to hate them throughout the film. There's also multiple bad decisions. There's also like completely weird and erratic. I can only assume Schumacher-driven subplots and there's whole bits that are wrong with the film. But I still sort of unabashedly love it. And it was definitely the McCarthy-Estevez duo, one loving love and one hating love, in a cool apartment where you can fuck a woman in pearls on a coffin. That was definitely like how I wanted to live.
This is a film that made me go, Andrew McCarthy's cool. I do like his character in it.
Yeah.
And so while I take everything you're all saying on board, I still unabashedly kind of love the movie.
I love it for Andrew McCarthy. Mic drop. See you later, lads. I'm off.
I like McCarthy's Trilby hat.
Yeah, and he looks cool smoking, doesn't it? He plays the bongos.
He smoked in most of his movies. He smoked in the first Bernie's, yeah. I don't know if he was a real life smoker or not, but...
He took up smoking. I read on trivia earlier, this is the film that he took up smoking on. He has since quit.
But he was still a smoker while making Night of the Running Man, in which he smokes almost entirely throughout the whole film.
Yeah, he had cigarette ashes in his beard.
Oh, my. All right.
So I still love St.Elmo'S Fire. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
So am I.
I'll give it a 3.
I'll give it a 3, too.
Okay, excellent. And last, but by no means least, it is Class, which is all about a story about the filthy, filthy Andrew McCarthy fucking Rob Lowe's mum in a dirty, cheap motel.
This is how they actually met. It's a true story, isn't it?
Go.
Yep, another true story.
What am I talking about now? Just the movie
Class.
itself? I love Class. I think Class is because Class kind of pardon the expression. I know I'm going to get jokes about this, but it's sort of like right up my alley, you know, because it's see, I knew it. Because it's not quite an 80s teen sex romp, but it still is. You know what I mean?
It's close.
It's so close. Like if there were.
It's close to like ones like Private School and My Tutor.
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, if there were more hijinks, because it has everything that a 80s teen sex romp should have, but not enough of them. Like there should have been way more sex. There's like none of the super serious shit should have happened, or it shouldn't have happened for as long. There should have been more hijinks, but it's essentially an 80s teen sex romp, and so I kind of have like a real soft spot, you know, for it as a film. I love it. I think Class is great. I've always been a big fan of the movie.
Yeah, Jacqueline Bisset is spectacular in this film.
And boy, howdy, except for her hair, which is just awful. But
my favorite character in the film is when they're having that meeting about the dance that they're having with the neighboring school.
That scene is fucking brilliant.
It is amazing.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of people really don't remember this movie until I actually rewatched it. I actually forgotten how much fun it really is.
Cusack is in it. Ruck is in it. You've got
the chick who he tore her shirt open. That's Virginia Madsen, isn't it?
No,
she's in the movie. I feel like that's because that's the chick he went on the date with and puked all over her, right?
Really?
Yeah, because I think that's Virginia Madsen.
No way.
Well, I mean, like, what was that character's name?
Yeah.
Was that Lisa? Because if that was Lisa, that's Virginia Madsen. Because I'm looking at the IMDb page right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So that might have been a very young Virginia Madsen tit we were looking at.
I might have to rewatch that.
Yeah.
Also, why is there's a photograph of Andrew McCarthy in a blonde wig wearing lingerie, which never happens in the movie?
No, he has the lingerie, but he's never in a wig.
That's in your head.
And there's also a shot of him, a promotional shot of him in a bathtub with a flower in his mouth. That never happens in the movie
happens
either.
in the movie either.
The promotional photographs for Class.
That's from Joel Schumacher's private collection.
I did not know that was Virginia Madsen.
Booyah!
It is, yeah, it is. Wow.
I recognized her, but when I was without a phone when I watched this, so I couldn't verify it then. But it reminded me when I went onto the IMDb page that I thought that was Virginia Madsen. So I'm actually really happy that it was, because boobs.
Yeah. Doc, what's your feeling on Class? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, it's a good film. Very good film. I enjoyed it.
This is the first thing that Andrew McCarthy did, but not the first thing Rob Lowe did, as he had been
Which
on
was
TV
Speed.
shows. But he also did The Outsiders, of course.
Yep.
Playing Soda Pop.
I'm surprised that Andrew McCarthy went in The Outsiders.
Why?
Just, because of the 80s and that show shit.
Yeah, but but he hadn't done anything yet. Matt, what's your feeling on this movie?
I'm the same way with Mo. It's a fun movie. I've forgotten how much fun it is, and it's like I said, kind of one of more of the. I guess you could call it a sex comedy if you want to, but I think it's one of the better ones that came out that I think a lot of people may have missed. So if you haven't seen it, I'd say check it out.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely call it a sex comedy. I mean, it's like a sex dramedy, but it's not a romp.
They also seemingly both get into Harvard without doing any work.
Right?
Yeah.
I have very little opinion on the film.
So that part's realistic.
So that part's realistic, yeah. I have very little opinion on the film, other than it's fine. It's
there.
It's funny. It's fine. It's okay. It moves
It's not
quick
offensive.
enough.
It's just
nothing bad about it. And everything is solved by a roll around in the mud with Rob Lowe.
Much
in
like
the end,
everything else in life.
but it sort of showed, like, at the beginning where the Brat Pack would go. They didn't have difficulty tackling the dangerous subjects of what would happen if you slept with Rob Lowe's mum in a cheap motel. They just went right ahead and did it. And right up until corpse molestation and doll fucking, they really do cover the gamut in the Brat Pack era of the 80s of the, let's say, the taboo subjects. And it's quite interesting that while horror was being hauled over the coals in England and being banned for simply showing the rape by a tree of a person, which clearly is a fantasy, they, however, let Andrew McCarthy and James Spader run amok across womankind for 10 years without so much as batting an eyelid. These movies proudly got displayed, whereas horror, which featured nothing offensive whatsoever, except the odd slay by a chainsaw or the odd kill by a knife, that is apparently considered awful, whereas Andrew McCarthy is allowed to go around and do all sorts of filthy stuff to dolls and mothers and dead people and gets away with it. So I think
it's amazingly wild just how much drug use is in all of these movies. Like, I mean, there's so much, like, there's, like, everyone has coke, and you can tell that Class came out in the early 80s because everyone had pot,
right.
and then as the years go on into the 80s, just everyone has coke. It's all over the place.
Yeah, of course, which is true.
It was
all over the set.
It's true of the 80s, absolutely.
Yeah, that was even in Bernie's when this girl takes a bag of something off of Bernie's off of his dead body.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was our Andrew McCarthy rundown. I enjoyed it no end. Thanks ever so much, guys. Just quickly then, as we've got about 10 minutes left, and then I really do have to go. But just quickly, let's go around the table. Let's just give our approximation of 2015. What do we think about 2015 as a movie year? Mo?
I mean, honestly, I didn't see this is probably the first year in a very long time that I didn't see a lot of the new releases. But there were a couple of the ones I saw, there were some real big standouts. I mean, obviously, with giants like Fury Road, which was fantastic, or the more recent like Bone Tomahawk, which I absolutely loved. I mean, there was some really great stuff out this year, but I didn't get a chance to see everything I wanted to. I'll make up for it in 2016, but I thought it wasn't a bad year for film. I thought it was pretty good.
Matt?
There was some good stuff this year, actually. Like Mo said, Mad Max was excellent. I thought Jurassic World was spectacular.
Yep.
And just recently, which I hope does happen because it deserves it, Creed was amazing.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Matt.
And
Creed
I
was
hope,
incredible.
I need to
I'm
see
saying
that.
this I'm seeing this right now. Stallone has been nominated. He should win for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely. But those have been the big ones for me this year. Especially, I've seen Mad Max 3 times now, and I think it's one of the best ones out there. So,
Doc?
Mad Max Fury Road, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I really enjoyed Run All Night with Liam Neeson. Thought that was a great action
That was
film.
a good one.
I thought it was
very
good too. And Kingsman was great.
Kingsman was really good.
Yeah.
I think it's been a really good year for cinema. Not spectacular as in, strokey chin tossers.
It's been a great year for
cinema.
It's been a great year for action.
It's been a great year for just entertainment.
Yeah.
I think my film of the year will probably be Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I don't think there's a better film this year for set pieces and just over the top. I think it's been the year of like the spy film. It's been really coming back this year.
well, I do know. You say that I know Mo saw Man from U.N.C.L.E., and I heard that was awful.
I did not like it.
I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that at all.
I just thought it was slow and boring.
It's better than Man of Steel, and Henry Cavill was in that as well.
Well, yeah, it was definitely.
You know
better
what's
than
funny?
Man of Steel.
It's funny about that too because I'm going to stop watching trailers. Because another one I wanted to mention was Terminator, but the trailer for Terminator Genesis that ruined the movie for me and a lot of other people.
I enjoyed the shit out of that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
great.
I actually thought it was pretty great. I didn't watch the trailer, so maybe that has
I watched the trailer and thought, my God, that's going to be fucking awful. And my uncle said, do you want to go and see it? So I says, yeah.
Well,
Went to see it, and I
that's
thought it
how
was
I
awful.
That's
And
how I felt
enjoyed it.
about. That's how I felt about Spy, and I don't know if that was this year or not, but like it was another one where the marketing just ruined it. I thought it was fucking fun as shit, but the commercials for it just made it look god awful.
Yeah, I agree. Spy was much better than the posters and the commercial would have you believe.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy Spy. This year for me was like, I don't know, 50-50. It wasn't a banner year, but it wasn't a terrible year. And amongst it, there were a couple of massively great standouts, which were obviously Fury Road was really great. I did love that. I would agree with you, Mo. Sorry, Bone Tomahawk was great.
Yeah, it was good fun.
I think Spy was out this year, so I think Spy was good. I'm trying to think what else was out this year that I really... Run All Night, I agree with you, Doc. I thought was a great Neeson season entry. I even liked the last... I still say that the last half an hour of Furious 7 is some of the best big-budget, blockbuster action stuff put on screen.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have obviously the martial arts stuff of something like The Raid or whatever, and it doesn't have the kind of class or nostalgia of a Die Hard or a Lethal Weapon. But in terms of like modern balls to the wall, throw everything at the wall as well as the kitchen sink and see what sticks. I thought the last half hour in LA of Furious 7 was fucking brilliant, and really, really enjoyed that. Which is a shame because the first half an hour is bilge. That was also spoilt by a massive trailer campaign that gave away the Tony Jaa bus fight, which could have been awesome if we didn't know what was going on. Like, imagine that whole sequence with the car coming out the plane and then the bus and everything. If we didn't know it was going to happen, it would have been so much better. It was really ruined by endless advertising. I thought Avengers Age of Ultron was a massive disappointment for me this year. I really wanted that to be as enjoyable and as great as the first one, if not more so. And for me, it was a massive letdown. Really disliked it. A couple of odd sleeper hits, I thought. I thought Tomorrowland was far better than what it was credited for.
That was another one that had a really shitty marketing campaign, but I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought Tomorrowland and Spy were much better than they had any right to be. I really enjoyed both of those. I'm just scrolling down here and seeing...
Was Ex Machina this year?
It was way back at the beginning, I think. Yeah.
I enjoyed that. That's good.
San Andreas was a big disappointment. It should have been far more ludicrous. It wasn't ludicrous enough.
Absolutely.
It should have featured The Rock like chewing through boats and punching tidal waves out of the way, and he did none of that. He didn't even jump the what's the word when the land splits open?
Earthquake.
Oh, the
Earthquake, that's it. He didn't even jump the earthquake or tug California back onto Arizona. He did nothing particularly heroic.
He should have grabbed the rope and pulled the fault line closed.
Pulled like close. Yeah, that would have been amazing. But like you said, Matt, Jurassic World, that was a surprise. I'm not a huge fan of the series, and I'm not a fan of any of the cast of Jurassic World, yet because they let it be about the dinosaurs and not about the people, I unabashedly loved, especially the end.
Oh yeah, when the scene comes up, when he comes up with the motorcycle and the Raptors are following him, I was like going, yes, yeah, like everybody was screaming.
I agree. I thought
that was only because he had whipped out his penis.
I thought Macquarie and Cruise pulled it off again with Rogue Nation. I thought that was excellent. Mm-hmm. It's not like the best of the MI movies, but it was a pretty decent one.
What did you think was better?
Probably the first one and the third one.
Scandalous.
You think it's the best one? You think?
Yeah, definitely better than Part 3. Jar Jar Abrams.
No, I don't like Jar Jar Abrams, but of all his movies, that's the best one because I think I really like Philip Seymour Hoffman as a pretty mean fucking bad guy.
Oh, he's a good bad guy, but I just thought
my favorite of that one is still the second one that John Woo did.
Wow, that you're probably the only one, man. That's
probably
big
so.
news.
Yeah, I mean, I stick with that. So
I enjoyed that one.
I like that one. My problem with it is that awful bad guy with the terrible face.
Douglas Scott.
Yeah, Douglas Scott. I hate Douglas Scott.
Did anybody see Sicario?
Awful. I didn't. No, was it any good?
Not bad.
Did anyone see the Bill Murray movie Rock the Casbah, which I didn't go and see because
I didn't.
No,
I didn't.
Did you guys see the latest Bond film?
Spectre? Yeah.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it, but not great. Not as good as the
I
others.
enjoyed watching it, and then the moment it finished, all the problems with it smacked me in the face. I was like,
Came out.
Shit.
Yeah. Probably, I still say, worst theme song ever done.
Well,
No, the Die Another Day one is the worst.
No.
Die
I
Another
think
Day,
I'll
that's there,
die
yeah.
another day. I mean, that's the worst one.
I'll
That's the
take
worst.
that over Sam Smith. He wrote it. Why would you give yourself that fucking high pitch when he wrote it and he can't do it?
Oh, the Sam Smith one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would have to be a fight to the death between him and Madonna. I
hope
fucking
it's a
equally hate
draw.
them. I equally hate them. Creed, I absolutely unabashedly loved. I thought it did everything right.
I really need to watch that.
I thought it did everything right.
It's not out here, so I can't comment.
Considering it's the seventh part of a franchise that has had more ups and downs than Kim Cattrall in movies, or Sharon Stone's Buttocks.
Stallone is excellent in that film.
Yeah, he really is. There's one problem with Creed, and I can't unfortunately mention it enough. What, dude?
We'll see.
But there is one problem with Creed which I can't mention here because I don't want to spoil it. But beyond that, it was fine. The ones I want to see in the lead up to Christmas, then that I haven't yet seen, I'd like to see Krampus, but I can equally wait for video
I saw that.
or
I saw that.
streaming.
It's good.
It is? Oh, okay.
I want to see The Big Short. I want to see, which is about the Wall Street crash.
It's about my penis, yep.
It's Star Wars I will see, but I probably won't see it for a couple of weeks because I'm not that bothered. But I do want to see it.
I'm going tomorrow for that one.
It's good. It's really good.
I'm going to wait, too.
I want to see. I'm seeing The Hateful Eight on the Sunday after Christmas on the 70 mil.
Desperate to see that.
And I want to go see The Revenant. Because I was a big fan of Birdman and Inarritu as a director, and it also looks fucking kick-ass action in it. And he gets raped by a bear, apparently. Who doesn't want to see that? And, of course, everyone's favourite movie of 2015, I mean, it really has been so critically well-received, And that is Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Chip.
That's not out till February, yeah? See? I've got to wait for that shit.
I think that one's going to destroy Star Wars.
I've heard it's on course to make $3 billion by the end of December in America.
But I think one of the saddest things that happened in 2015 was losing Robert Zadar.
Yeah.
And I don't want to end the whole show on a down note, but I'm going to. And salute Zadar.
Yeah, the man choked me once.
Which is weird because that's what everyone says when they start a story about James Spader.
No, I met Zadar at a Chiller convention one year, a long time ago, and I asked him if I could pose for a picture with him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." And so he wrapped his fucking meaty hands around my neck, and so now there's this really great picture of me being choked to shit by Robert Zadar.
I got choked by a Sid Haig.
That's funny.
Nice. We also lost Rick Duckerman from The Burbs, a man who should have had a much bigger career than he did.
Yep.
But still, the movies he appeared in, all classics.
Yep.
Die Hard, The Burbs.
Last Boy Scout.
Last Boy Scout. We also lost Roger Moore's best friend, Patrick Macnee. Which was a shame. We lost some big ones. Omar Sharif went this year.
Christopher Lee
went this year, of course. Roddy Piper. Sad day for us all when Roddy Piper passed away.
Leonard Nimoy.
Nimoy shuffled off this mortal coil. Wes Craven.
Yeah. I think as we're getting older, all the classics are just going, aren't they?
Yeah. Are you aware of that? Like, I'm aware of that. Like, I'm aware that Tom Waits will die in my lifetime, and I don't know how I'm going to survive.
Well, I got to tell you, man, like, because I faced a similar problem with, it came way faster than I expected, where my favorite author, Terry Pratchett, died.
Right, exactly.
And it took me a while to realize that I'm never going to read another new word he's ever written.
Yeah.
And to just kind of dwell on the fact that this man who's been such a huge influence on my life, as well as Waits has too. So I'm with you on that one. I don't know what's going to happen when he passes, but the fact that, like we lost Pratchett, and it's just such a big fucking deal to me,
I mean, I look at it and I just think, at some point, Lars van Trier's going to die. and I'm hoping it's 2016.
And that'll balance it out, you think?
Yeah, well, definitely. Okay. One less thing to moan about.
Yeah, I agree. No, I mean, it's just, I've started to think that with certain, like, key people. Like, Terry Gilliam.
I don't hope he dies, really. Just retires. That'd be nice.
Terry Gilliam's going to pass away at some point, and I'm never going to get to see another Terry Gilliam film.
Right.
It's awful, isn't it, that we're actually getting to that age where your heroes do just start dropping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boo.
Stallone, Schwarzenegger, at some point, they're not going to be able to make movies anymore. There's a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, happy Christmas, everyone.
Yeah. So with that, I want to say thanks again to our wonderful New Year's Eve panel. We'll have you back again next year to do even more. But thanks ever so much again for making this year, 2015, a damn fun one in the life and soul of the After Movie Diner. And will you join us back here next year for another retrospective of another completely obscure actor?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Pay me in cheese. Yes, I shall be here as long as we can do it on the films of. Somebody a random name. Julia Roberts. Russ Meyer. Yeah, okay, I'll do Russ Meyer.
Well, we don't know.
I can do that. Yeah.
I'm not sure about Russ Meyer, but we'll figure something out. We'll have a look. But thanks ever so much, guys. Take care. Love to all yours and you and everything else. And thanks again for joining me in the After Movie Diner for another New Year's Eve celebration.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for the firm fisting after we're done.
Yeah, and my best revelation of the entire McCarthy experience was James Spader in Mannequin. Still my favorite thing of 2015.
Boom.
Yeah.
You don't see the writing on the wall. Passing by, moving straight ahead, you knew it all. But maybe sometime if you feel the pain, you'll find you're all alone. Everything has changed. Play the game. You know you can't quit until it's won. Soldier on. Only you can do what must be done. You know in some way you're a lot like me. You're just a prisoner and you're trying to break free. I can see a new horizon underneath the blazing sky. I'll be where the eagles flying higher and higher. Gonna be a man in motion. All I need's a pair of wheels. Tell me where the future's lying. St.Elmo'S Fire. Burning up. Don't know just how far that I can go. Soon be home. Only just a few miles down the road. I can make it. Yeah, I know I can. You broke the boy in me, James Spader, but you won't break the man. I can see a new horizon underneath the blazing sky. I'll be where the eagles flying higher and higher. Gonna be a man in motion. All I need's a pair of wheels. Tell me where your future's lying. St.Elmo'S Fire. I can climb the highest mountain. I can cross the wildest sea. I can feel St.Elmo'S Fire burning in me. Burning in me. Just once in his life, a man has his time, and my time is now. I'm coming alive. I can hear the music playing. I can see the banners fly. Feel like you're back again and hope's riding high. Gonna be a man in motion. All I need is a pair of wheels. Tell me where my future's lying. St.Elmo'S Fire. I can climb the highest mountain. I can cross the wildest sea. I can feel St.Elmo'S Fire burning in me. Burning in me. Burning in me. Boo, boo. Boo. Boo-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.